Chapter 1. Far from Myself. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Team 7 were on their way back from their first mission since Tsunade had come to the village and been made Hokage. Kakashi was reading Aika Aika, as usual. Sakura was trying to get Sasuke to go out with her. He was refusing and remaining stoic. Naruto, however, was strangely silent. Kakashi looked at the blonde knucklehead and closed his book. "Naruto, are you alright?" Kakashi asked. Naruto blinked a few times, like he'd been thinking about something. Naruto looked around furtively, then made his way over to Kakashi. "I think we're being followed, Kakashi-sensei," Naruto said softly. He seemed serious and obviously didn't want a potential enemy to hear him. "How long?" Kakashi asked. "Since we left that farm," Naruto replied. Kakashi couldn't sense a thing. "I don't think so, Naruto. I would have noticed by now. There's nothing to worry about, Naruto," Kakashi stated. "Is there really nothing to worry about, Kakashi?" Kakashi turned to look in the direction of the voice. He recognized it straight away. "It's not a good thing if you can't take your students seriously. Or is it just poor Naruto-kun that you ignore?" Itachi stated. Naruto bit on his lip for a moment. He looked at Sakura and Sasuke. He knew Sasuke wanted to fight badly. His fists were clenching together so tightly that Naruto was sure his fingers would snap. Sakura, on the other hand, Naruto noticed, had fear in her eyes. Kakashi was already ready to fight. Naruto got into a fighting stance, then realized something. "Hey, you have a partner. That Kisame dude. Where is he?" Naruto asked. Kakashi looked at Naruto, and his eyes widened. "Naruto, move!" Kakashi yelled. Too late for Naruto. As he turned, saw a glimpse of the black cloak with red clouds, and felt a blinding pain on the side of his head. The last thing he heard as he felt his brain slip into unconsciousness was Sakura screaming his name. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. "Hey, you have a partner. That Kisame dude. Where is he?" Kakashi heard Naruto say. "Wait, he's right. Where the hell is the other one?" Kakashi thought. "Damn it, their target is Naruto." Kakashi thought as he turned to look at Naruto. His fears were confirmed as he saw Kisame behind the blonde. "Naruto, move!" Kakashi yelled. He knew it was too late before the words even left him. Kisame whacked Naruto around the side of his head with same hate. Luckily for Naruto, Kisame wasn't trying to kill Naruto, or his brain would be all over the floor. Kakashi saw Naruto slump to the ground in a heap without a single sound. "Naruto!" Sakura screamed frantically at the hyperactive boy. Naruto, however, didn't move. Kakashi's eyes widened as he saw a pool of blood under the boy's head, getting wider by the second. Head wounds usually bleed a lot. "I can't afford to panic now. I need to save all of them." Kakashi thought to himself. "The only way I can fight them is if I have help." Kakashi added silently. He looked at Sasuke and knew the dark-haired boy was itching to fight his older brother. But Kakashi knew how that would end if he allowed that to happen. Itachi would just tear Sasuke to pieces. He'd already done it once. Kakashi looked at Sakura, who was absolutely terrified. She ran to Naruto's side, not even taking note of Kisame, and tried to wake Naruto. "Naruto! Naruto, get up!" Sakura cried out frantically. Kakashi could understand her fear. Naruto was, after all, never one to go down so easily. For some reason, the wound on his head didn't seem to be healing as fast as Kakashi has known Naruto's previous injuries to heal. Kakashi glared at his two opponents. "Sasuke, run back to the village and get help," Kakashi said stoically. Naruto's condition was precarious at best, and Kakashi didn't want to risk their lives in this fight. He also knew that asking Sakura to move would be completely pointless. She was obviously too shocked to even hear what he was saying properly. "I'm not leaving," Sasuke hissed. "Sasuke, that's an order. Naruto needs help. Moving him would be dangerous without a medic. He's losing blood, and he's unconscious. If we don't get help, Itachi will overpower me, Sakura, and you. Then he and Kisame will take Naruto away with them. Do you really want that, Sasuke? Could you live with that? This isn't about your revenge. This is about the survival of your comrades." Kakashi hissed back. Sakura was sobbing, trying to get Naruto to wake up and bandaging his head as best as she could with her ninja med kit. Kakashi pulled his own kit out of his shuriken pouch and threw it to Sakura. Use the bandages in there, too, Sakura. I doubt Naruto carries any, Kakashi stated. Sakura seemed in a daze as she picked up her sensei's med kit and started bandaging Naruto's head wound further. Kakashi knew Sakura wasn't going to be much help. She was barely taking in what was happening around her. Sasuke, you're the fastest runner. Go and get help, Kakashi yelled. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sasuke looked at Naruto. His best friend, though he'd never admit it, was lying on the ground, bleeding profusely from a large head wound. Sasuke clenched his fists and looked at Itachi, who seemed emotionless as usual. Sasuke, you're the fastest runner. Go and get help. Sasuke heard Kakashi yell at him. Sasuke couldn't move. As the pool of blood got thicker around Naruto, he didn't see his blonde teammate anymore. He saw his parents, dead on the floor of their living room, blood everywhere. He tried to focus, but leaving Naruto seemed an impossible option to him. I can't, Sasuke said sadly. This isn't about your revenge. Kakashi yelled at him. It'd be the second time he had. No, it's about Naruto. I can't just leave him. Sasuke heard himself yell back. He saw Kisame swing Samehade towards Sakura, ready to finish her off, and he ran to block it. Sakura hadn't even moved. Sasuke knew if he didn't get there, she would die. He dived and pushed Sakura out of the way of the deadly weapon. They skidded along the ground a few feet and stopped. That was when Sasuke realized that Naruto was now unprotected. No. Sasuke heard Sakura yell next to him. That was when he looked at Kisame to see he'd picked Naruto up and tossed the blonde over his shoulder. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sakura, when she saw Naruto hit the ground, couldn't help but think this was all a nightmare. Naruto never fell down. Naruto was the enthusiastic one. He was always cheerful, and if someone hit him on the head, he usually whined a little and rubbed his head, then carried on. Sakura had never seen him slump to the ground and stay there. She'd never seen Naruto still or silent for a moment. She was actually frightened for her blonde teammate. She wasn't really registering what was happening around her. She felt this overwhelming urge to help Naruto as much as she could. She ran to his side and knelt next to her fallen comrade. There's so much blood, Sakura thought as she pulled out her medkit. Sakura removed Naruto's headband, at least what was left of it. The cloth was shredded, but the metal plate with the leaf insignia was still intact. She pulled out bandages and tried to figure out where the wound was exactly. She grabbed her water bottle and poured some water over the wound. Enough blood was washed away for Sakura to see where the wound actually was. She started bandaging it quickly and praying that Naruto's head would stop bleeding. Naruto bleeding was not a sight Sakura was accustomed to. She had only ever seen him bleed more than a few drops on their mission to the Land of Waves. Even then, he had put a kunai in his hand himself, and he had been conscious. She wasn't sure how to react. She just knew she wanted Naruto to wake up. If Naruto wakes up, everything will be fine. Sasuke and Kakashi Sensei will fight off those creeps. Naruto will join in with all his energy, and then we'll go back to Konoha, and Naruto will continue trying to ask me out on a date. Things will be fine. I just need to wake Naruto up. Sakura was thinking inside her mind. Somehow, her efforts weren't working. She didn't even listen to the battle going on around her. She didn't hear a word of what anyone said. She heard Kakashi as though he were at the other end of a large tunnel. Use the bandages in there, too, Sakura. I doubt Naruto carries any bandages. Sakura looked to see her sensei's medkit and picked it up. She pulled out the bandages from within and began unrolling them and wrapping them around Naruto's head. She couldn't even think about what was happening around her. Naruto, wake up. We need you to wake up Naruto. Sakura sobbed. She didn't know when she'd started crying. She didn't really care. She heard the swish of something next to her, and she felt someone push her out of the way. She blinked, as though in a trance, and saw Sasuke above her. She sat up, along with Sasuke, and saw Kisame pick Naruto up. No, Sakura yelled. Put him down, bastard. Sakura heard Sasuke hiss next to her. Sorry, kiddies, but we're going to be taking your little friend. Maybe your sensei should have listened to him when the kid told him you were being followed. You might not be so unprepared. You might have had a small chance, Kisame said. He chuckled darkly, and Sasuke stood up, kunai's a hand. You're not taking him anywhere. Sakura heard Sasuke yell. Why do you want to take Naruto away from us? Sakura heard herself say. It's not about you, kid. It's about the creature inside the brat. The nine-tailed fox sealed inside him when he was just a newborn. Kisame said. Itachi didn't look pleased when Kisame said this, but Sakura only barely registered that. What? Sakura asked. She was completely confused. Wasn't the nine-tailed fox killed by the Yondaime Hokage? She thought. She looked at the shark-like man with confusion all over her face. She looked at Sasuke to see the same look on his face also. I see no one told you Jin is the real story. Well, you can't kill demons. So your beloved Yondaime Hokage sealed the Kyuubi within a newborn infant. That infant was your comrade, Naruto Uzumaki, which is why he has value to our organization. Kisame said. Sakura glared at Kisame. She thought for a moment. It would explain a lot of things. Like the extra chakra that Naruto used in the Chunin exams against Neji and even against Haku in the Land of Waves. How Naruto usually healed so quickly. Sakura looked at Sasuke, then at her unconscious friend. Her friend that contained a demon. Therein was her answer. Her friend was not a demon. He just carried one. He was her comrade. More than that, her friend. Just by looking at Sasuke, Sakura could tell he was thinking the same thing as her. They wouldn't abandon him to these criminals if they could help it. Sakura clutched Naruto's forehead protector tightly in her hand. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kakashi growled angrily at Kisame. That piece of information was forbidden. No child knew it. Even if what you said is true, why should it make a difference? Sakura said. Kakashi blinked. Naruto isn't some demon. He's a person, Sasuke added. He's our friend. Sakura continued, standing up next to Sasuke. She looked angry. You're not taking him anywhere. Sakura and Sasuke said at the same time. Within moments, Kakashi saw Itachi disappear from in front of him and reappear next to Kisame. You do not have a choice in the matter. Come Kisame. We have what we came for. The others are of no importance. Itachi said stoically. With that, the two Akatsuki members were gone, and with them, so was Naruto. Kakashi saw Sakura look around frantically. Sasuke joined in, but Kakashi knew they wouldn't find anything. Kakashi felt like a failure. We need to report this to the Hokage, Kakashi said softly. We can't just run away and abandon Naruto. He's injured. Those creeps are going to end up killing him, Kakashi-sensei. Sakura yelled. Sakura, we're not going to be able to track Naruto down without help. You two are too young and inexperienced to be fighting S-class criminals. Kakashi stated. So you want us to leave? Naruto's too young to fight them too, so we should just abandon him. Sakura yelled. Kakashi felt his heart crack a little more at the tears he saw streaming down Sakura's face. Of course, we're not abandoning Naruto. I want the two of you to go back to the village. I'm going to send one of my nin dogs with you. You'll tell Tsunade-sama what happened, and she will decide a team to follow after me. Kakashi said. What do you mean after you, sensei? Sakura asked. Sasuke glared. He means he wants us to go back to the village while he tracks down Naruto, even though he can't take on the two of them himself. Sasuke said angrily. I'm your sensei for a reason. I train you, and you need to follow my orders. Sasuke is right to a certain extent. I'm going to track Naruto down. If you two go back, you'll be able to tell Tsunade-sama what has happened, and she will decide the best team for the job. She'll send people after me. You don't need to worry. We'll get Naruto back. Kakashi reassured them. He knew he shouldn't be guaranteeing anything. By the time he found them, they may already have killed Naruto. In fact, he might already be dead, but there was a chance. It wasn't a big chance, but still a chance that Naruto was alive. If you came with me, I would have to worry about your safety, as well as getting Naruto back, and it'll mean we have less chance of saving Naruto. Kakashi said softly. Sakura and Sasuke didn't look happy with this information, but they seemed to understand. Kakashi summoned his nin dogs. Pakin, as usual, was with them. Pakin, I need all of you but one to spread out and search for Naruto's scent. I need one of you to go with Sasuke and Sakura back to the village. When the Hokage has decided a team to send after me, I need that one to track my scent to find me. Kakashi stated. What happened to Naruto? Pakin asked. He's been captured by Itachi and Kisame. Kakashi replied quickly. Pakin seemed to understand, when Sakura and Sasuke didn't. Okay, spread out. Kakashi ordered. All the dogs except one spread out. Pakin had gone to track Naruto's scent. Why did they want Naruto? Sakura asked. Kakashi looked at his students. They knew about Kyuubi now, but it wasn't his decision to tell them the rest of the story. They didn't want to leave until Kakashi did, obviously. It seemed to be taking an awfully long time to track down Naruto's scent. It had been at least 20 minutes. The tracking shouldn't have taken that long. Kakashi knew something was wrong. You two need to get going, Kakashi stated. That was when Pakin appeared. There is no scent, Kakashi. We've searched for it everywhere. Itachi and Kisame seem to have somehow masked their scent. All I can smell now is Jinjutsu. I fear the trail is already cold. Pakin stated sadly. Sakura shook her head. Naruto was bleeding. He was hurt. How can there be no trace? Sakura asked. Sasuke put a hand on her shoulder comfortingly. Neither of them could quite believe it. Kakashi noticed that Sakura was holding Naruto's headband. We need to take a new course of action. The Hokage needs to know what's going on and get the trackers onto the trail as soon as possible. Kakashi thought, we have to go back to the village. We'll get Naruto back somehow. Kakashi said to his two remaining students. They both looked crestfallen. Sasuke's, normally emotionless, face showed a deep sadness. Sakura had tears streaming down her cheeks, and her whole body was trembling. This was having a bad effect on her. He couldn't blame them for reacting like this. Come on, you two. I know this is hard, but if we don't go back to the village, we can't do any more to help Naruto. Kakashi said softly. Sasuke nodded reluctantly, and Sakura was just completely still. Kakashi led the girl away by placing a hand on her shoulder and gently pushing her to move. The sad group headed back to Konoha to tell their loss. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Tsunade was sat in her office waiting to hear bad news. Shizen had informed her that, somehow, she'd won a jackpot raffle prize. That was usually a bad omen for her. Something bad always happened if she ever had a winning streak, gambling. Jiraiya had arrived and was sat on her windowsill. Tsunade, you should really try to look on the positive side. It may just be that you get more paperwork today. Jiraiya stated calmly. I don't think so. I have a bad feeling about today. Kakashi's team hasn't come back. They were only on a D rank mission. It should have been completed and the team should have been back by now. Tsunade stated. Isn't Naruto on Kakashi's team? Jiraiya asked. That was when Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura barged into her office. Naruto's gone, Sakura yelled. Tsunade could see the girl's tears, still fresh on her cheeks. Sasuke stood next to her, looking angry. Kakashi looked rather subdued. What? Tsunade asked, shocked at the idea of such a revelation. He was taken by Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hashigaki. Kakashi said softly. He carried on reporting the events as quickly and clearly as possible, not leaving out a single detail. Tsunade wasn't happy that the two genin had been given such dangerous information. But Kakashi had already told her that the two genin hadn't taken it badly. In fact, they had still wanted to save their comrade. Tsunade looked at Jiraiya once Kakashi had finished his report. He knew without her saying anything what she was trying to say. Something bad had definitely happened this day. Jiraiya, go and tell Shizen to find as many jounin as she can that aren't on a mission. She'll be heading out with them. Naruto is injured, and I need a medic I can trust there to heal him. Also, I want to see the rookies and guys team here along with Irika. Tsunade said softly. Why would there be a need for everyone to be here? Sakura asked. She still sounded dazed. You're all his friends. You all have the right to know Naruto is missing. Tsunade stated sadly. I need to request to go with any retrieval squad that is going to look for Naruto. Kakashi said. Please let me go too, Hokage-sama. Sakura asked. Sakura Haruno, there is no way you or any rookie is going on a mission of this level. It's far too dangerous for rookies to be attempting. Tsunade said harshly. Sakura bit her lip and Tsunade regretted her harsh tone. Sakura, you and Sasuke are not experienced enough to take on a group like this. I'm going to send as many shinobi as I can. Well, with the shortage that we have at the moment, it's going to be difficult, but I'll do all in my power to bring Naruto back to this village safely. Tsunade said softly. Sasuke looked down at the ground. I'm surprised that you aren't insisting on going yourself, Sasuke. Tsunade said softly. I know you won't allow it. There's no point in wasting my breath. Sasuke stated coldly. Sakura looked at Tsunade, hoping for reassurance, but Tsunade couldn't give it. Not at this time. You should both sit down, Tsunade said to the two genins. Sakura looked shell-shocked, and Sasuke just guided her to a seat, then sat down beside her. It was then that Tsunade noticed that Sakura was clutching a forehead protector in her hand. Her hands were covered in blood. Tsunade knew that the blood belonged to Naruto. Is that Naruto's? Tsunade asked, her gaze on the forehead protector that Sakura clutched so tightly. Sasuke nodded. She's been holding it since she tried to stop Naruto's head wound from bleeding. Sasuke replied. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kisame and Itachi had traveled as far as they could get without stopping to tend to Naruto's bleeding. After all, it wouldn't help them if he dropped dead before they got to their destination. Itachi had been getting rid of their trail since they had left and knew no one was following them. Itachi was now sat in a cave, waiting for Naruto to wake up. His head wound had stopped bleeding. After a while it had anyway. They were near a small village called Kakuruko. Itachi had sent Kisame into the town to find some clothing for Naruto. When asked why, Itachi had simply stated that the orange jumpsuit stood out far too much. Kisame had shrugged and gone off to do as he was asked. None of this had really bothered Itachi. Using the boy to get what he needed wasn't something he was unaccustomed to. Naruto's quiet form was slightly unnerving. After all, if the boy died, he'd have to explain to their leader why the boy had died. Telling him that Kisame had whacked the brat too hard wouldn't really cut it as an explanation. After a few hours, Kisame came back with some clothing. An azure blue shirt that matched the boy's eyes, black pants, and ninja sandals, and a black jacket. The brat awake yet? Kisame asked. Before Itachi could answer, they heard a groan. Great, he's going to start being annoying now. He probably won't change into the damn clothing just to be difficult. Kisame hissed. They watched as Naruto sat up. He looked disorientated, and his eyes were struggling to focus. After a few moments, this changed, and Naruto was staring at them in complete and utter confusion. Who are you guys? Naruto asked quietly. He looked frightened and confused. Itachi smirked as he assessed the situation in a mere moment. Well, I'm your older brother, Itachi. We were quite worried about you, Itachi said. His voice sounded almost kind, and Naruto cocked his head to the side as he stared at Itachi. If we're brothers, why don't we look the same? Naruto asked. You look like your father, Itachi replied. Don't we have the same father if we're brothers? Naruto asked. No, Itachi replied. Naruto looked confused. It seems that the blow to the head you got from those Konoha ninja has given you amnesia. Do you remember anything at all? Itachi asked. I remember a girl calling me even if I couldn't hear what she was saying. I remember pink and black and silver. I'm not sure about anything else. Naruto replied. How do you know she was calling you? Itachi asked. I don't know for sure. It's just a feeling I have. I wish I remembered my own name. Naruto seemed even more confused. Your name is Kaido. Don't worry. Here, put some fresh clothes on. There's a stream outside where you can wash. You need to hurry up, we're going to be late. Itachi said. Again, the hint of kindness came through in his voice. Naruto looked at his own clothing. What's wrong with what I'm wearing? Naruto asked. It is a prison uniform, Kaido. You don't want to be seen in it, or everyone will know where we just came from when we walk along the streets. Itachi stated. Naruto blinked. Plus there's blood all over it. Itachi added. Naruto then noticed the blood all over the jacket. Why is there blood all over me? Naruto asked. It's your blood, Kaido-kun. After those Konoha ninja attacked, you took a bad blow to the head. The wound only stopped bleeding an hour ago. Itachi answered. Naruto blinked and walked out of the cave to the stream where he could wash. Are you sure this is a wise idea, Itachi? Kisame asked worriedly. Of course. He can't remember who he is. We can train him into the perfect weapon. A weapon that hates Konoha. If he thinks he'll be in danger if he goes there, he'll never attempt to go. If he never goes, he is unlikely to meet anyone he knew before. He's a blank slate at the moment, Kisame. Think of the things the brat can be taught. After all, if I can keep him under control, there will not be a problem. If I lose control of him, I'm sure Leader Sama will either take control himself or will just perform the extraction and Naruto will be dead. Either way is a win-win situation. Itachi stated. Kisame nodded. I still have a bad feeling that this is going to come back and bite us in the ass. Literally, Kisame stated. Just make sure you send a message to the Akatsuki base, letting them know what the situation is. Tell them I've given Naruto the name Kaido. We don't want him suspecting anything. Once he's at the base, he won't be found by any Konoha ninja. After all, a mecha gear is not somewhere Konoha nins enter. Itachi said softly. At that moment, Naruto walked back into the cave. His blonde, spiky hair was all over the place as usual. The new clothing seemed to suit him. There were two things Itachi noticed. One was that Naruto's leaf headband was missing. That didn't surprise him. After the whack Kisame had given Naruto, he was surprised the boy's head hadn't been cracked open. Secondly, he noticed a necklace around Naruto's neck. Naruto seemed to notice Itachi staring at it. I was wondering if you could tell me where I got it from Aniki. After all, you're my brother. Naruto stated happily. How do you think you got it, Kaido? Itachi asked. Naruto seemed to ponder it for a moment. I think I got it from someone important. I also think it's important to me. I don't want to take it off. Was it from my father? Naruto asked. Yes, that's exactly who it was from. Itachi replied. Naruto grinned happily. Okay, where are we heading? Naruto stated. We're heading toward the mecha gear. Don't worry too much, though. Odo too. I'll be sure to look after you. Don't wander off from me. That's how you got captured and attacked by those evil Konoha ninja before. Itachi stated. Naruto nodded vigorously and walked outside the cave. Where did you leave those clothes? Itachi asked. Under a bush near the stream. They're useless, aren't they? There's no point in keeping them. Naruto stated happily. Itachi smirked. Chapter 2, Failure to Launch. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. The whole rookie group were sat in Tsunade's office with their senseis, Irika, and Team Guy. Sakura was still shell-shocked, and Sasuke was quiet as usual, but his face showed far more emotion than anyone had ever seen on it before. I called you all here for a reason, Tsunade said softly. The group waited for Tsunade to speak. Naruto has been abducted by a criminal organization known as Akatsuki, Tsunade said sadly. The room burst into uproar. So what are you doing about it? Kiba yelled. Akamaru yipped on top of his head. Yahokage-sama, aren't you sending someone after them? Ino added. This is troublesome. I'll go. Shikamaru stated idly. Yash, as will I. Lee yelled. Hinata was silent and Niji had wrapped an arm around her shoulder loosely. We're already organizing a search team. Tsunade said. Who's on it? You need a good tracker. Akamaru and I can do that. Kiba insisted. Or if you think Kiba is too young, his sister Hana is an excellent tracker. Shino stated. Kiba nodded in agreement. How did it happen? Irika asked softly. He looked at Kakashi angrily, and Kakashi looked down at the ground, shamefaced. The other senseis were trying to calm their students. Tsunade looked at the group and got ready to speak, but there was a knock on the door. Shizen came in with Hamura and Koharu, who looked serious. We need to speak to you about Naruto Uzumaki, Koharu said. Say what you're going to say. Tsunade replied. In private, Hamura hissed. If you have something to say about the boy, you can say it in front of his friends and comrades. Tsunade replied. There will be no search, Koharu stated. The whole room stared at the older members of the council. What do you mean? No search? Naruto is a Konoha shinobi. He's been abducted. There's always a search for a missing shinobi abducted in the line of duty. Tsunade hissed. We're not risking the lives of other shinobi to bring back one genin. It's not a risk the council wishes to take. We haven't the manpower since the Odo invasion, and one genin isn't worth a rescue team. Hamura stated. Everyone was silent for a moment before the least expected person started yelling. How can you say it's not worth it? Hinata yelled. If it was anyone else but Naruto, you'd be looking. Sakura said softly. What are you talking about, girl? Koharu hissed. What she means is that if it was me who got abducted by Akatsuki, you'd send the whole village out for me. But because it's just Naruto, to you, you don't care because he's the container for Kyuubi. Sasuke stated. The whole room was filled with gasps. The students, at hearing this information, were shocked because they'd never been privy to it. The senseis and Irika were shocked that Sasuke knew about such a thing. The council members were shocked that Sasuke would dare to speak about it in front of them. Tsunade, Sakura, and Kakashi were the only silent ones. Tsunade sighed, and without waiting for the council members to get over their shock, she explained the truth surrounding the attack of the Kyuubi to these rookie students. This seemed to make their outrage even worse. How can you not save a hero of this village? Shino asked. He's done this village a favor for years, and you treat him like he's worthless? Kiba asked. Hinata just sobbed into Niji's shirt. Various questions, alike to Shino and Kiba's, shot all over the office. It has already been put to popular vote. The council has decided that, by now, Naruto Uzumaki is probably dead. Akatsuki wished to extract the demon from the boy's body. The chances he'd survive are less than zero. There is no point sending a team simply to retrieve a body. Koharu said. The group of students glared fiercely. Tsunade sighed deeply. It seems the younger generation have a lot more brains than the older generation. Tsunade thought to herself. If it was me, would you send a team out? Sasuke hissed. You're an Uchiha, Sasuke. Your bloodline getting into the hands of another village is not something we can risk. Hamura said. That made the students glare more. Sakura stood up next to Sasuke and added her own glare to everyone else's. So Naruto is worthless because he doesn't have a bloodline? Or because he's a Jinchuriki? Sakura questioned icily. At that moment, Tsunade's office door swung open and crashed into the wall loudly. Konohamaru burst in without hesitation. Is it true that Naruto Nichan's gone? Konohamaru yelled. Tsunade sighed. Who told you that, Konohamaru? Tsunade asked. I heard other people talking about it. Everyone's talking about Naruto Nichan being taken away on his last mission. Is Naruto Nichan okay? Konohamaru asked. I'm sorry, Konohamaru, but the rumors are true. Naruto has been taken away. Tsunade said softly. Konohamaru started crying then. Irika walked over to the crying 8-year-old and hugged him, tried to offer some form of comfort. Another entry to the office startled everyone when Jiraiya entered through the open window. In that case, I will go to look for Naruto, Jiraiya stated. Tsunade gave him a soft smile. You can't go looking for the boy, Koharu answered. We need all our shinobi here in Konoha now. Hamura added. I'm not contracted to this village. I'm a Konoha shinobi, but I don't have to obey your rules. Naruto is still a student of mine, and he's a child. I'm not going to abandon him to Akatsuki so quickly, Jiraiya stated. He left the room, through the door this time. If one genin isn't important, then what difference is 2 going to make? Sasuke said. Or 3, Sakura added. Make it 4, Kiba stated. I'm going to, Hinata exclaimed. We're a 3-man cell, so I will accompany you, Shino said calmly. The young ninja were all exclaiming their willingness to go and search for Naruto. Of course, Hamura and Koharu disagreed. We said we can do without one genin, not 10, and definitely not a chunin. Koharu snapped. You will not be cleared for a mission. Any one of you that leaves this village without a valid mission would be considered a traitor. Hamura stated. Tsunade sighed. Unfortunately, she knew that they were right about the last part. Without a mission or permission from the Hokage and the council, ninjas that left their villages were traitors. I think it's time the two of you left my office. As you can see, these ninja aren't going to see eye to eye with you, and you've made your point. Tsunade hissed out to Hamura and Koharu. The two elder council members left the room, and all eyes rested on Tsunade. I am truly sorry. If I could then, I would send the best we got to find Naruto. Tsunade said softly. I'll go find Naruto with or without their permission. Sasuke hissed. Do you think Naruto would want you to become a missing nin for him? Tsunade asked. Sasuke bit his lip and glared angrily. I'm going to set you an S-class mission. Tsunade said softly. The occupants of the room stared, waiting for Tsunade to carry on speaking. Whatever mission you go on, if you catch any sign or clue that might lead to Naruto, I give you full permission to split your forces, send for backup, or whatever needs to be done to bring Naruto back to the village. This mission is S-class because it must be kept secret. You're all his friends, and as such I know you want to help him. Jiraiya is an excellent spy. It's an especiality of his from childhood, and he does it well. Gathering information and finding out things he shouldn't know is something Jiraiya does on a daily basis. Once he finds out what's happened to Naruto, he'll let us know, and I'll set up an appropriate mission. There is no argument the council can give once I know Naruto's location and status. Tsunade said softly. The group begrudgingly agreed and hoped that there would be news of Naruto soon. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto was sat in a ramen shop, eating a bowl of miso pork ramen. He wasn't sure why the smell and taste attracted him so much, but he knew he loved ramen for some reason. Itachi and Ikki, when are we going to get to this place? Naruto asked. Soon, Odo too. We'll be there soon. Have patience, Kaido. Itachi told him. You think I can decide what I want to wear when we get to the next town? Naruto asked. Why? Is there something wrong with what you're wearing? Itachi asked. It doesn't feel right. Naruto said softly. His loudness seemed to have disappeared. When we get to Mecha Gear, you can find some new clothes. Itachi said kindly. Naruto grinned and carried on with his bowl of ramen. His necklace still glinted around his neck. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. It was nighttime, and Sasuke had just walked Sakura home. The two had sat in Ichiraku's hoping to work out a plan of escape, so they could go and find Naruto themselves. They also realized that finding Naruto was pointless if they became missing nins, as they'd be arrested and tried for defection once they bought Naruto back. Sasuke walked down the street thinking about the predicament at hand when he was attacked. He felt the blow land on his cheek, and he flew into a wall. He looked up to see four familiar faces. He'd seen them when Odo and Suna attacked Konoha, and Orochimaru had killed the third Hokage. What do you four want here? Sasuke hissed. Actually, we came to test your power. Pretty fucking weak if you ask me. The only female of the group said. We came from Orochimaru. If you come with us, he can release the power of the curse seal you carry. A black-haired male stated seriously. It'll make you twice as powerful to learn how to control the mark. A fat male said. That is if you come with us. You can always stay and rot in this village. A silver-haired male quipped. Sasuke glared angrily at the four. Why would I go anywhere? I've got more important things to worry about than your perverted master. Sasuke exclaimed. At that moment, Kakashi appeared from out of nowhere. I think this is your cue to leave. Kakashi stated blankly, whilst getting into a defensive stance. The group glared and disappeared quickly. Sasuke looked at Kakashi. How did you know they were here? Sasuke asked. I've been a shinobi for a long time. You were deep in thought. You're still a genin, so don't wonder too much about why you didn't sense them, and I did. They're likely to come back and make the offer again. Orochimaru wants you for some reason, and he'll stop at nothing to get his hands on you. If you leave this village, not only would you be betraying everything your family stood for, but you'd be betraying every person you know now. including Naruto, Kakashi stated calmly. Sasuke nodded. I understand, Kakashi. I won't be leaving this village. I have more important things on my mind, Sasuke stated. Losing Naruto had made a large turn in Sasuke's perception of things. He was slowly beginning to realize exactly what was most important to him. He was also beginning to think about what his parents might have wanted. He also thought about how Naruto had managed to survive, all alone, for all these years, with everyone looking down on him. Sasuke had barely handled being alone. That was with everyone practically worshipping the ground he walked on. Everyone except Naruto, of course. Naruto kept Sasuke in his place. He kept Sasuke from getting too big of an ego, and he kept Sasuke thinking carefully about how he trained. Naruto had always pushed Sasuke to be his best, and Sasuke had definitely risen to the occasion. Now it was Sasuke's turn to help Naruto. He decided he wouldn't fail. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sakura was sat in her bedroom, looking at the framed picture she had of Team 7. She felt tears fall down her cheeks. She heard a knock on her door. Komein. Sakura called as she wiped the tears from her face. Her mother and father entered. We heard that your team mate was abducted on your mission today, her mother said softly. Sakura nodded. Which one? Her father asked. Naruto, Sakura answered. Thank God it wasn't Sasuke Uchiha. We can all do without that brat, but the last Uchiha? Well, you'll get a new teammate assigned to you soon, her father stated. Sakura felt disgusted. How can you say that? I don't want a replacement teammate. I want Naruto back, Sakura exclaimed loudly. Her father glared at her angrily. If you knew what he was, you wouldn't say that, her father hissed. If you're talking about him being a Jinchuriki, I do know about that, and I'm not too narrow-minded to care. He's my friend, my teammate. He's not a demon. He's just a container. I'm going to do whatever I can to get him back to the village safely, Sakura yelled. Her father looked at her with fury, while her mother looked worried. Get out, Sakura. Until you're ready to apologize, you're not welcome back here, her father said angrily. Sakura glared and stood up from her bed. Fine, if that's the way you want it, father, Sakura said. She grabbed a duffel bag and started packing her things. Her father just glared at her angrily, and her mother just looked on silently, a pleading look in her eyes as Sakura threw clothing, ninja gear, books, and scrolls in her bag. She picked up a teddy that was on her bed, given to her by Ino, and the last thing she picked up was the framed picture of Team 7. She wrapped it up in a jumper before placing it into her bag, and then zipped it up. She walked past her parents and down the stairs, and they followed her. She opened the door and looked at them, standing on the top of the stairs. If you hate Naruto so much that you're willing to kick me out over it, then I'm better off leaving. Until you're willing to admit you were wrong, I won't come back here, Sakura stated. You'll be the one apologizing, young lady, her father stated loudly. Sakura sighed and closed the door behind her. She started walking, not sure where she would go now, but knowing she couldn't go back on her word. She wouldn't go back and pretend she hated Naruto, and she wouldn't go back and apologize to her parents for defending him. She was alone for now. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Itachi and Kisame arrived back at the Akatsuki base with Naruto that evening. It was a lot sooner than planned, and Naruto had been quite helpful. Remember to be polite to Leader-sama, Kaido, Itachi said sternly. Naruto nodded vigorously. They walked into the hidden base, and they bumped into Konan immediately. Hello, Itachi, Kisame, Kaito-kun, Konan said. Kindness seeped into her tone when talking to Naruto. Leader-sama wants to see the two of you. Kaido, come with me. I'll show you to your room, Konan said. Naruto looked at Itachi, wondering if he should listen or not. Itachi nodded, so Naruto walked along with Konan. Kaido, do you remember anything at all? Konan asked. No, Itachi Aniki says it's because Konoha Ninja whacked me over the head pretty hard. I remember a girl calling me. I think she was calling me. I couldn't hear what she was saying. I remember some colors too. Silver, blue, and pink. Aniki says the necklace I've got came from my father. Did you know my father, Nachon? Naruto asked. Konan smiled at the boy. No, I didn't know your father, Kaido-kun. My name is Conan. You don't have to call me Nei-chan. Conan said kindly. Okay, Conan Nei-chan. Hey, Aniki said I could get some new clothes when we got here. Naruto stated happily. What's wrong with what you're wearing? Conan asked. It just doesn't feel right. Naruto said softly. That was when Conan opened a door. Naruto peered inside the room, revealed to him to see that the room was rather bare and sparsely furnished. There was a desk and chair, a dresser, a wardrobe, and a bed. The bed had fresh covers on it, and the desk had a small plain lamp sitting on it. Naruto blinked and looked at the room in wonder. How comes it's so empty? Naruto asked. We move from place to place. We've never accumulated many possessions. Conan replied. Naruto blinked and shrugged. Naruto walked around the medium-sized room and looked back at Conan. You have your own bathroom through the door next to the dresser. Get some rest. You must have had a long journey. Don't wander off until Itachi, Kisame, or I come to take you anywhere. Conan said. Naruto smiled as he took notice of the door. Thanks, Conan Nei-chan. Naruto stated happily. Conan made to leave, but just as she reached the door, she turned back to look at Naruto. Welcome home, Kaito-kun. Conan said softly. The grin she saw on the boy's face was so wide, she thought it might split his cheeks. Thanks, Conan Nei-chan. You're real nice to me, even if I'm being a pain. Naruto said happily. Conan smiled. Just get some rest, Kaito. Conan said softly and left the room. She closed the door behind her and started off down the corridor. Maybe it's good the kid is here. He's certainly brightening up the place. Conan thought to herself. She wouldn't admit that she was already getting attached to this bright ray of sunshine. That was too much for her thought processes. She found herself frowning when she remembered that this boy might well have to be killed one day. She shook her head silently and carried on walking through the base, trying not to allow her thoughts to wander down such a dark path. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. That evening, Kakashi had walked Sasuke back to his own small apartment before he would let Sasuke go home. He wanted to check the boy over and make sure he hadn't been damaged. A knock on the door interrupted the two males. Kakashi opened it to see Sakura standing there. There were tears streaming down her cheeks as she threw herself into her sensei's arms. Kakashi-sensei, my parents. Naruto, so awful, couldn't stay. Threw me out, hate him, couldn't want to apologize, defending Naruto. Sakura managed to sob out brokenly. Kakashi hugged the crying girl. He didn't need to guess as to what had happened. Her sobbing, her choked out words, and her bag of possessions showed that obviously Sakura's parents thought as much of Naruto as most villagers did. Kakashi gently led the girl into the apartment and sat her down on the bed. Sasuke stared at the crying girl. He sat next to her and managed to coax the story from her slowly. Of course, Kakashi found out his suspicions were right and cursed the ignorance of the village. Sasuke looked as furious as Kakashi felt. Sakura, you won't be alone. You can stay here. We'll go and see Tsunade in the morning and discuss everything. It will work out fine, Sakura. Kakashi said kindly. She can stay at mine if she wants. Sasuke said softly. Kakashi stared at Sasuke. Are you sure about that? Kakashi asked. Sasuke nodded. I already lost one teammate today. I'm not losing another one. Sasuke replied. Sakura nodded. I don't want to take all of your space, Kakashi-sensei, so I'll stay with Sasuke. Sakura said softly. Kakashi shook his head and smiled at the pair. It seemed they had learned a lot about what it meant to be a team since their blonde team mate had been taken from them. Now all they needed was to get Naruto back. Then everything would be fine. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Itachi and Kisame were sat in the meeting room with their leader, Pain. Let me get this straight. Pain said sarcastically. Kisame whacked the brat over the head so hard he could have killed him. But it has resulted in luck for us, as the boy now has no memories and believes he is Itachi's little brother. Pain quipped. Yes, Leader Sama. Itachi replied. Pain shrugged. It went well this time. He can be trained individually by all of us. I'm not saying the brat is going to become some sort of prodigy, but he'll definitely be strong. What does he think his name is again? Pain asked. Kaido, Leader Sama. Itachi verified. Pain nodded. Next time, Kisame, think about what you're doing. It was pure luck you didn't kill the brat in the first place. Pain hissed. Kisame nodded in understanding. Let the boy sleep for now. Tomorrow he will train with Akatsuki. Pain ended the conversation. The other two just nodded their understanding. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. The next morning, Kakashi and Sasuke walked with Sakura to see Tsunade. Sakura bit her lip worriedly. She felt a squeeze on her shoulder from Kakashi, and she gave him a half-hearted smile. It'll be all right, Sakura. Tsunade-sama will make sure of it. Kakashi said kindly. Sakura nodded. Sasuke? Sakura asked her stoic teammate. Yeah. Sasuke replied. Do you think when Naruto comes back? Sakura trailed off. When he comes back, I'm going to ask him to come and stay with us. Sasuke stated boldly. Kakashi smiled at his two students. They were planning for Naruto's return. They were keeping positive. That was a great achievement, in his opinion. He just hoped that all their positive thinking wouldn't be in vain. Despite trying to think positively himself, Kakashi knew that the reality was very bleak. That Naruto may never return, or that if he does, he wouldn't be the same. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Hey, Konan-chan, look at that. Naruto yelled happily as he walked from stall to stall in the market. Konan smiled at the boy fondly. It had only been a week since he'd been brought to the base, and Konan found that Naruto's presence had brightened up Akatsuki life considerably. She looked at the hairpins that Naruto was showing her. They're roses like your one with origami birds attached to them. Naruto stated happily. Konan smiled at Naruto's observation. Yes, they're quite pretty, Konan said, as she decided to buy the hairpins. Konan-chan, do you think I could get some plain clothes for now, and then get some clothes later on when I get to go out on missions again? Naruto asked earnestly. Of course, Kaido. It's better that way. What kind of training clothes would you like? Konan asked him. Naruto started looking around and grabbed a few pairs of gray pants and a few green vests. Konan nodded approval and purchased the clothing. Naruto walked past a shop that sold weights and stared at some leg weights strangely. What's wrong, Kaido-kun? Konan asked. I don't know, Konan-chan. I just got a funny feeling when I looked at the leg weights. Naruto said softly. Konan smiled gently at him and started leading him along toward another stall. We'll all be training you on different days, Kaido. Is there something that interests you? Konan asked. I want to learn how to use a sword. I heard Fish Face saying that Itachi Aniki is really good with swords. Naruto exclaimed loudly. Konan smiled broadly at Naruto's enthusiasm. I'm sure you'll learn all that from one of us. Konan replied as they carried on through the marketplace. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kakashi walked to the Uchiha compound, feeling that he should keep an eye on Sasuke and Sakura, and found that Sakura was weeding in the front garden. Sasuke's inside, Kakashi-sensei. Sakura stated cheerfully. Kakashi smiled at the sight of Sakura weeding and planting new flowers. Kakashi went inside and heard sound from the back of the compound. He soon found Sasuke in a room painting the walls. He seemed like he was concentrating intently on his work. Kakashi smiled as he realized Sasuke was painting the room a sky blue with orange swirls all over the walls. Let me guess, this room is going to be Naruto's one day? Kakashi stated softly. Sasuke looked at Kakashi and nodded. Naruto will come back one day, Kakashi-sensei. I know he will. I know all logic points against it. I know it's likely he's probably dead, but I know that's all wrong. He's going to come back and complete his dream. Sasuke said sternly. Kakashi smiled. I'm glad you're optimistic, Sasuke. It makes a change from your normal behavior. Kakashi said kindly. Naruto is my best friend, my closest friend, and I didn't appreciate him. Now he's gone. I'm not going to let him down again. I've been letting my parents down all this time also. They wouldn't want me to be the way I have been. They would have wanted me to get on with my life. Sasuke said softly. He bit his lip. So what color is Sakura's room? Kakashi asked. Cherry blossom pink. I've done a lot of cleaning and redecorating this week. Sakura's been working on the garden. It used to be really nice, and I'll let it go wild after. Sasuke trailed off before he could talk about the massacre. He hated talking about it. Kakashi understood. So, at least you and Sakura are getting along. Kakashi quipped. Yeah, she's not being a fangirl, and it's nice having someone around here again. I think that Naruto being gone isn't just affecting me. I think it's affected her too. Sasuke replied. Kakashi nodded. He hoped that the changes were for the better. He also hoped that Naruto was alright. That somehow Sasuke's feelings weren't unnoticed, and that Naruto was still alive, and that he was coming home one day lost. Chapter 3. As time goes by. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kakashi was staring at the memorial stone, his face shrouded with dark thoughts. He heard someone behind him and turned to look at Irika, the one person he couldn't bear to see. Kakashi, what happened on that mission that's eating you up so badly? I know you would have done your best to protect Naruto. Irika asked. I should have listened to him more, Irika. I didn't take him seriously. He said that we were being followed. I thought maybe he was imagining things. But he wasn't. It was Itachi and Kisame. I'll never forgive myself if he's been killed because I didn't take him seriously. He may be a genin, but there are so many people who are after the Kyuubi. I should have listened to him and checked to make sure no one was following us. I didn't. I dismissed his claims. It was my fault he got taken. Kakashi said softly. Irika placed a hand on Kakashi's shoulder. Naruto is a resourceful kid. He always has been. We'll find him, Irika stated. Kakashi nodded. I hope so, Kakashi said quietly. The two carried on staring at the stone. Irika finding the names of his parents and Kakashi staring at the names of his friends. Neither of them noticed Sasuke and Sakura watching from the shadows. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kaido, you little bastard. What the fuck did you do to my shampoo? Hayden screamed as he ran along the Akatsuki base corridors, clad in a towel, with his hair a bright, neon pink, standing out like a sore thumb. Naruto was running along the corridor, laughing his head off. Don't worry, Hayden. It'll come out eventually. Naruto yelled backwards as he ran away from the psychotic Jashin worshiper. Kaido, you little bastard. Why get my hands on you? I'll rip your Jashin damned head off. Hayden screamed as he ran after Naruto. As the pair ran past Deidara's room, a loud yell from the artist rocked the whole base. Kaido, where's my clay, you little shit? XXXXXXXXXXXXX. It had been 2 years, and since Naruto had gone missing, quite a bit in Konoha had changed. Sasuke and Sakura lived together. They were just friends, however. Neither of them felt a need to change the relationship they had. Their teamwork was practically flawless. Kakashi was still their leader, even though they had become Chunin. They had had another person put on their team as a replacement for Naruto. Sasuke and Sakura immediately hated him, of course, just because he was placed there to replace Naruto. The teen in question, Sai, seemed to have no emotions and didn't care too much about why he was there, except that those were his orders from Danzo. Sakura had studied with Tsunade and become a medical specialist, hoping she could one day use her skills to help Naruto. Sasuke had studied hard under Kakashi and learned more techniques than he could ever imagine learning from Orochimaru. More than a few of Odo's finest had tried to convince Sasuke to leave his village to join Orochimaru several times since that particular night 2 years ago. But Sasuke had declined and kicked their asses. He had learned that power and revenge weren't the path his parents would have chosen for him. While he still wanted to defeat his brother, he was learning he needed to bide his time and wait for the right opportunity to present itself to him. He started to train with Sakura once a week, both of them hoping to point out any weak points to work on, and both of them hoping they would be strong enough to get Naruto back home. They believed he was still alive, no matter what. Both had promised each other and themselves that they wouldn't give up until they saw a body or Naruto himself. Kakashi also searched as hard as anyone else. His feelings of guilt over Naruto's abduction hadn't stopped since the day the boy had been taken. In fact, the feelings of guilt had become worse. He had made the same vow along with Sasuke and Sakura, even though he didn't know it. There had been no sight or sound of Naruto since his abduction. For some reason, a new assassin, known as Kaido the Nameless, had appeared suddenly just over a year ago. He seemed to be a mercenary whose face was never seen. For this reason, Sasuke, Sakura, Sai, and Kakashi were working with Hinata, Ino, and Niji on their mission today. They were supposed to be guarding a diplomat from Hashigakure back to Konoha. As it was, the group felt oddly nervous that this new assassin might attack at any moment. Diplomats and various other officials had been killed already by Kaido, the Nameless. If this diplomat was killed, they'd be in trouble, as the alliance with Hashigakure was very hard to broker. The fact that 2 Hashigakure shinobi were with them didn't help ease the edge that had settled over them. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto had become a different person over the last 2 years. Constant training and studying had been his companion, and the Akatsuki had been his trainers. He'd become a master of the silent kill, like the former Missnin Zabuza, and he'd learned to track better than an Inuzuka. He'd become a weapons specialist and had his own sword. Unlike Kisame, his sword didn't have a name. He wore a hooded black cloak on his missions for Akatsuki, so he'd never been seen. Konan had become his fast friend and one of the people he looked up to. Itachi had become his brother for all intents and purposes. He was happy to play pranks on Deidara, Sasori, Kisame, and Haiden on a regular basis, although he didn't know why he felt the need to pull pranks on them. He'd also learned how to use medical ninjutsu through study and practice in Amekigear. He was pretty good at it. Not as good as Tsunade, but he was certainly getting there. Naruto dressed in black pants, black, fingerless gloves with metal plate guards on the top of them, black ninja sandals, and a high-collared navy blue shirt. He had arm protectors that were white on his own arms, and on the back of his shirt, he had a circular symbol with the Uchiha fan inside it and an orange swirl in the top section of the fan. His blonde hair framed his face more neatly now, and no one could understand how the boy had grown so much. Konan sat with Pain discussing their next move when Naruto entered the room. "Kaito-kun," Konan asked the teen. He looked at her and grinned. "Hey Konan-ne-chan, Leader Sama?" Naruto questioned the male. Pain smirked at the boy. He'd become a loyal weapon and didn't remember anything of the past. "Kaido, we need you to do a small mission for us," Pain said softly. Naruto listened intently. "There's a diplomat headed to Konoha from Hashigakure. We need you to take him out. If anyone tries to stop you, you take them out too. If Konoha makes an alliance with Hoshi as they have done with Suna, they will be in a position to start hunting us down. This can't be allowed to happen," Pain stated seriously. Naruto nodded. "I understand, Leader Sama. I'll take care of it. Is anyone assigned to come with me?" Naruto asked. "No, you should be fine doing this job on your own. You are a master of the silent kill. You shouldn't have too much trouble killing one man. He is being protected by 2-star shinobi and 7-leaf shinobi. I'm sure you can bypass them," Pain replied. Naruto nodded and went to leave the room. "I'll leave this afternoon, Leader Sama," Naruto stated seriously. He walked out of the room, and Konan looked at Pain seriously. He looked back at her. "I know you don't want the boy to get hurt, Konan. I know you care about what happens to him. He'll be fine. You worry before every mission he takes. He always comes back safe and sound," Pain stated kindly. "That doesn't mean my worry is unfounded. If a leaf shinobi sees his face, they'll take him back to Konoha. Once they do that, he'll start remembering. I told you, the amnesia he has may be temporary, and that means that once he starts seeing familiar places and people, he will remember who he was before, and the amnesia he has will reverse itself," Konan said softly. "We'll have to start worrying about Konoha even more. They're getting closer to finding out where we are. We may have to take the battle to them soon," Pain stated. Konan nodded, and the two carried on with their small meeting. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sakura and Sasuke were at the back of the formation protecting the diplomat. Hinata and 1 Hashigakure shinobi were on one side. Another Hashigakure shinobi and Ino were on the other. Kakashi and Niji were in front, and Sai was behind Sasuke and Sakura. I heard Kakashi, Tsunade, and Jiraiya discussing Akatsuki before we came on the mission. Sakura whispered to Sasuke. "What did they say?" Sasuke questioned. "They're on the move. Still no clue about Naruto. They have a new member, though. The same assassin that we're all worrying about now. Kaido, the Nameless. Sakura said. The two had no idea how close to home the name would prove to be. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto was in his room, checking some necessities for his journey, when he heard a knock on his door. Komein, Naruto said softly. His loudness had toned down a lot. Itachi entered. I hope you took what Leader Sama said seriously. Make sure you're careful, especially around Konoha Ninja. Itachi stated. Yeah, I know, Aniki. I'll be fine. Besides, I've been on plenty of these missions before. Naruto replied. None of them involve Konoha Ninja. They will do whatever they think they have to do to finish their mission Oto 2. Itachi replied. I'll be careful, Aniki. I don't even intend to get close if I can help it. Naruto said kindly. Itachi walked forward and ruffled Naruto's hair. Just remember the mission, Itachi stated. He left the room, and Naruto shook his head to himself. He checked his necklace around his neck and his weapons. Not that he'd need that many. Then he put the weapons in his kunai holster and shuriken pouch. He slipped food and medicine pills and a couple of scrolls into another pouch, and then pulled on his black hooded cloak. There was another knock at his door. Komein. He called out yet again. This time it was Konan. She looked worried. Hey, Konan Nei-chan. I would have come and said bye before I left, you know. Naruto said kindly. Konan smiled and hugged the teen. Be careful, Kaido-kun. I'm giving you one of my origami birds. If anything happens, throw it into the air, and it will immediately set off towards me. We'll know if you're in trouble then. Konan said kindly. Naruto nodded happily. I'll take good care of it, Konan Nei-chan. Naruto said softly. She nodded and handed him the origami bird. Naruto grinned and hugged Konan back. I'll be back soon, Nei-chan. Don't worry so much about me. Naruto said happily. He left the room then, as Konan watched after him, hoping he was right for once. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Zetsu was talking with Pain in the meeting room. So, you want me to follow the boy? Zetsu asked. Yes. I want to see how he behaves when there is no one to pull his strings. Konan cares about the boy, almost as if she bore him herself. Make sure not to harm him if it's at all possible. If that occasion even arises, Pain stated. Understood, Leader Sama. Zetsu stated calmly. He then left the room silently as Pain pondered on his own thoughts. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto had made it to the diplomat's camp. He'd seen the faces of the Konoha shinobi, and he found himself extremely confused. The faces looked so familiar to him. There was a pink-haired girl and dark-haired boy and a silver-haired male, with a face mask that seemed the most familiar. It felt as though he should know them, but something was just out of reach on the edge of his thoughts. There was also a dark-haired girl that seemed familiar, and Naruto felt a fondness within him for the girl. He decided to bide his time and wait for one of them to separate from the group. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. So far, things had been going well, and no one had attacked them. It was evening, and the group had stopped for the night. Hinata went to get water from a nearby stream. She was gathering water in the canteens they carried when she heard a noise behind her. She spun round, Byakugan blazing, ready for action, only to see a face she hadn't seen in 2 years. Her eyes went wide. Naruto, she questioned in shock before she went red and fainted. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto knelt down next to the fallen girl. He had had plenty of opportunities to kill the Hashigakure diplomat, but he hadn't done so yet. He still had many questions to ask. He'd waited for one of them to separate from the group for a while. As soon as the girl had left the group, he'd approached her. But she called him Naruto, and then she'd fainted? He was more confused than ever. As he knelt next to the girl, he'd also had a flash of memory, something he hadn't known for 2 years. Naruto was standing in a field with 3 tree stumps set in the ground in a row, and he was looking around. He heard a noise and looked behind him to see the same dark-haired girl dressed in a blue, long-sleeved t-shirt. Her hair much shorter, but Naruto knew it was the same girl. Hey, Hinata, he heard himself say cheerfully. Hohai Naruto-kun. What are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be at the arena? Hinata asked. Yeah, this was my old training ground. I just decided to look around it again and remember how far I've come. Naruto said cheerily. Oh, Hinata replied. Her cheeks were still red. You know, Hinata, when I met you, I thought you were really weird. But I've come to realize something. Naruto said. Hinata looked at him intently, cheeks still bright red. I like weird people like you. Naruto said happily. Come and watch me wipe the floor with Niji in my match, Hinata, right? He called over his shoulder as he ran off. He saw the dark-haired Hinata nod slightly as he left. Naruto looked at the girl. Hinata, how do I know you? Naruto thought to himself. He cupped some water from the stream and dripped it onto Hinata's face. Hinata stirred and looked at Naruto as though he were a ghost. Naruto, she asked. My name's Kaido. Naruto replied. Do you know who I am? She asked. Your name is Hinata. I think. I had a flash of memory when I saw you. I haven't had that in years. You were talking to me in a training ground. I said I liked weird people like you. Naruto trailed off. If you know who I am, then how can you not know your own name? Hinata asked softly. She concentrated hard so that she wouldn't stutter. I do know my name. Itachi Aniki told me my name. It's Kaido. Naruto replied. Itachi Uchiha? Hinata asked. Yeah, Naruto said. He saw the headband around her neck. The symbol of Konoha displayed proudly. He stood up warily. What's wrong? Hinata asked. She didn't want to lose Naruto again. Even if he had no full memories, he was still Naruto. You're a Konoha ninja. They tried to kill me 2 years ago. That's how I lost my memories. I was told to stay away from Konoha. Naruto said. His voice showed only a tinge of fear. Hinata stared at him incredulously. Naruto, Hinata tried to say the right thing. Stop calling me that. It's not my name. Naruto yelled at her, effectively cutting her off. It is your name. Hinata yelled back. Naruto is your name. You're a ninja of Konoha. You love ramen and wearing orange jumpsuits. You wanted to be Hokage one day. That was your dream. You inspired me to keep fighting even when things were at their darkest. Why would I call you anything else? Hinata yelled back. Why will my own brother lie to me? Naruto yelled. Because he isn't your brother Naruto. Itachi Uchiha is an S-class criminal. You were on a team with his little brother. Sasuke, do you remember him and Sakura-chan? Hinata exclaimed. The words Sakura-chan clicked in his mind to form another flashback. He was standing in a forest. A boy wearing the same style top he wore now was standing to his left. A pink-haired girl was standing to his right. He was wearing an orange jumpsuit exactly like the one he'd been wearing 2 years ago when he woke up with Itachi Aniki. He was trying to run up a tree without hands. It was a simple chakra exercise that he knew off by heart now, but he didn't seem able to do it. For some reason, he found himself getting up off of the floor and walking over to the girl, who was sat on the ground watching him and the other boy attempt to complete the exercise. He bent down and started whispering to her. Sakura-chan, you're really good at this. Can you give me some advice? Please? And please don't tell Sasuke I asked. Naruto whispered to the pink-haired female. She smiled at him and began speaking. He felt like things were clicking when he didn't want them to. The orange jumpsuit I was wearing when I woke up that day. Could it be that it was what I was recognizable in? Could Itachi Aniki and Kisame really have been the ones that attacked me and abducted me? Could they have been the ones that smacked me over the head and caused me to lose my memories? Naruto thought to himself. Naruto was so confused. Nothing seemed to make sense, and yet everything did at the same time. Naruto, Hinata asked tentatively. Naruto looked at the girl and tried to make sense of what he was feeling when he did look at her. He felt this bond to her somehow, a bond he'd never really grasped with Itachi as his brother. You're lying, Naruto whispered. He couldn't handle the thought that she might be right, and he'd been lied to all these years. I'm not lying, Naruto. I'm not. I admired you my whole life. Why would I lie to you? Hinata asked him. The problem with this statement was that Naruto wasn't sure that she wasn't lying, and every time she spoke it made him want to trust her more. He felt like something was very wrong, but he couldn't pinpoint it. He could practically smell danger in the air. That was when he heard footsteps heading towards them. He also heard a swish through the trees. Shuriken, Naruto thought to himself. He listened for their trajectory and looked at the teen girl known as Hinata. Get down, he yelled, pushing her to the ground. He felt the sting of steel piercing his flesh as two sharpened shuriken pierced his lower back. He hissed as he sat up. He looked to see Zetsu watching him. What the hell are you doing, Zetsu? I had a mission, and you're interfering. Naruto hissed angrily. You're jeopardizing your mission by talking to this girl. She is a Konoha Kunoichi. She is dangerous to you. What made you protect her in the first place, Kaido? Zetsu asked blankly. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Niji and Sakura thought that Hinata had been gone too long. They both decided to go to the stream and find her. That was when they heard shouting voices. They sped towards Hinata and heard the swish of shuriken. Sakura felt Sasuke running next to her. She looked at him, and he nodded in understanding. They weren't prepared when they sped to the riverbank and saw someone shielding Hinata. They saw a black, cloaked figure with shuriken in their lower back. When he sat up, however, Sakura gasped, holding a hand to her mouth. The same spiky, blonde hair, the same azure eyes that were still burning brightly and brimmed with emotion, and the same face, even if it had matured a little. That's Naruto, Sakura murmured. Sasuke stared also, not making a sound. What the hell are you doing, Zetsu? I had a mission, and you're interfering. They heard Naruto hiss out. He's with Akatsuki? Sasuke said. His voice conveyed shock. You're jeopardizing your mission by talking to this girl. She is a Konoha Kunoichi. She is dangerous to you. What made you protect her in the first place, Kaido? They heard Zetsu ask. What the hell? Why are you calling him that? Sasuke exclaimed out loud. Zetsu, Hinata, and Naruto all turned to look at Sasuke. Naruto got up and helped Hinata up. Are you alright? They heard Naruto ask her. She nodded. Then they saw him pull the shuriken out of his back, wincing as he did so. What I do or don't do isn't any of your business, Zetsu. What the hell are you following me for? Naruto asked. Leader Sama told me to follow you, Kaido. It appears you're not as loyal as you should be. Zetsu said blankly. Your brother would be disappointed. Zetsu added. Sasuke looked at Naruto and saw the boy look torn. Sasuke knew that face. It came when Naruto was angry and confused with himself. He doesn't have a brother. Naruto is an orphan with no family. What have you bastard been doing to him? Sakura yelled. Naruto looked at Sakura with something akin to recognition, like he'd seen a ghost. You're called Sakura, right? Naruto asked. Naruto, don't you remember? Sakura asked. She felt her heart clench. Her friend looked like everything was too new to him. I haven't remembered anything for 2 years. Itachi Aniki told me it's because I was attacked by Konoha shinobi. I took a huge blow to the head and lost a lot of blood and all of my memories. Naruto said softly. He had the Konoha headband on Sakura's head. He looked at Sasuke. Sasuke felt raging anger boiling up inside him. He's not your brother, Naruto. He's my goddamn brother, and he's been manipulating you. I'll kill him for this. Sasuke hissed. Naruto got another flashback then. The dark-haired shinobi was stood there with a glowing ball of electricity in his left hand. He was younger, but Naruto could tell who he was. Once again, he looked down at himself to see he was wearing an orange jumpsuit that was exactly like the one he'd been wearing 2 years ago. He felt a headband on his head, but he didn't touch it. Naruto saw him behind Itachi Aniki and Kisame. I've fostered my hatred for you, brother. I've waited and trained for this day. Now you die, he yelled. He ran towards Itachi Aniki and tried to put that ball of electricity, which Naruto noticed sounded like birds singing, through Itachi Aniki's chest. Itachi Aniki grabbed his arm and deflected the powerful-looking attack. Foolish little brother, Itachi Aniki said blankly. He broke the boy's wrist. He screamed in agony, and Naruto felt something in his heart clench and felt fear bubble up in his very being at the sound of the younger boy in pain. Naruto was shaking his head, shock apparent on his face. You're lying. You're all lying. You're trying to trick me so you can kill me. You're all lying. Naruto kept saying it over and over. The group were shocked beyond belief. Naruto, the dark-haired shinobi, tried to approach him. No, stay away from me. Naruto yelled. Naruto was shaking and trembling like a leaf in the wind. His eyes were wide and afraid. He looked like he was about to implode mentally. Naruto-kun. Hinata called to him. Sasuke knew Naruto wasn't listening. Something is very wrong with him. Sasuke thought to himself. He wasn't too proud to admit that this new Naruto was scaring him. Where was the old Naruto he knew? XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto felt like his brain was on fire. It was overloading with images of people, smells, and sounds. Voices that laughed and yelled were playing across his mind. He held his hands over his ears, trying to shut out the sounds, but he couldn't because they were coming from his unused, locked away memories. He felt himself drop to his knees, and he pressed his fingers into his head, trying to not think. Naruto-kun, are you all right? He heard Hinata say to him. At the same time, he felt himself losing consciousness. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sasuke glared angrily at the Akatsuki member. What did you bastards do to him? Sasuke asked. His voice was frighteningly calm. We didn't do anything. After the nice whack to the head Kisame gave him, or so I was told, he had no memories. Itachi took advantage of the situation. He believes Itachi is his brother. He believes we're his friends. He's a ruthless killer now. Trying to make him be something else will just overload his brain, which is why he is unconscious now. He obviously doesn't know who to believe. That makes it harder for you and easier for us. He remembers us. He only has flashes of you. Any person will stick with what they know. Zetsu stated neutrally. But he isn't just another person. He's Naruto Uzumaki. The Naruto I know would trust his feelings, not his brain. Sasuke heard Sakura saying next to him. Sasuke smirked, knowing his pink-haired teammate was right. Naruto rarely ever thought out a situation before he jumped right in. Zetsu laughed at the group. This isn't the Naruto you know. He knows himself as Kaido the Nameless. He has no memories of being the idiot you know. He plans his actions carefully in a battle. I've been on many a mission with the boy. He had Itachi as a trainer. He is a master of the silent kill. You'll find out when he wakes up, Zetsu said. His voice sounded smug, and Sasuke felt a glare crossing his face again. Sakura had run over to their fallen friend. She had her chakra ready to heal him, and she got to work healing his wounds. Sasuke saw the looks on Sakura's and Hinata's faces and wondered if Naruto wouldn't have two girls battling over his heart. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto, wake up! Naruto blinked. My name isn't Naruto, he said sleepily. Of course it is. You need to wake up. Naruto opened his eyes to see an old man in red and white robes. Who are you? Naruto asked curiously. You don't remember me, Naruto? I should feel hurt, but since you have no real memories, I can't really blame you. The old man said. Naruto looked around to see a village with pastel and bright-colored buildings everywhere. There was a mountain in front of him which had 4 faces carved into it. Where are we? Naruto asked. You don't know? The old man asked. I'm not sure. It all seems familiar. I just can't put my finger on it. Naruto replied. Well, if you go to your old apartment, then you might remember some more things. The old man said kindly. The old man started walking through the village. Hey, old man, what's going on? Wait up, Naruto yelled as he ran up to walk next to the old man. He was smoking from a pipe as he walked. Naruto saw children running around happily. He saw shinobi standing on the street talking to each other. He felt nervous at the sight of so many Konoha headbands. Where are you taking me, old man? Naruto asked. To your home, Naruto, the old man replied. This isn't my home. My home is back at base with Itachi and Ikki, Konane-chan, and the others. Naruto said softly. And stop calling me Naruto. It's not my name. Naruto hissed. The old man said nothing. He just carried on smoking his pipe. Naruto walked along with the old man, not really wanting to, but compelled to follow him by his own feet. He no longer seemed to control his body, as it walked up to an older-looking building. He followed the old man up to the top floor, and they stood outside a green door with a window in the top. "This is your home, Naruto," the old man said. "My name isn't Naruto." Naruto hissed. "Well, I can't open the door." "You have the key," the old man replied. Naruto put his hand in his pocket to feel for the key, but everything was fading to black and the old man was still speaking. "Just remember the way, Naruto. The will of fire burns strongest in you," hear the old man say. Naruto felt himself returning to consciousness and opened his eyes. He was laying on his front, and he felt some sort of chakra healing him. He turned his head to look at the pink-haired girl, who was knelt on the ground, her hands over his back, with a green glow emitting from them. "It'll be all right, Naruto. We'll look after you," the girl said kindly. Naruto's back was practically healed, but his mind was still racing. He stood up shakily. Sakura-chan stared at him worriedly as he turned to look at Zetsu. "Get lost, Zetsu," Naruto hissed. "I'm afraid not. I'll have to complete your mission as you're in no fit state to do so," Zetsu said gleefully. At that point, the silver-haired leaf shinobi, along with a black-haired leaf shinobi, a blonde leaf kunoichi, and 2 Hashigakure shinobi, appeared. A man who was dressed in a formal yukata was stood behind them. He was obviously the intended target. Naruto's eyes widened when Zetsu disappeared and reappeared behind the diplomat. "Wait!" Naruto yelled. It was too late. The diplomat was dead before Naruto could even get the single syllable from his mouth. Zetsu grinned. "Well, Kaito, you should be coming back now," Zetsu said blankly. Even as he smiled, his voice was so completely blank, it was scary. "I'm going to do something before I think of coming back to the base," Naruto said calmly. "You're turning traitor, Kaito?" Zetsu hissed. "No, just checking out something," Naruto stated. Zetsu glared and disappeared. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kakashi stared at his young student. He wasn't so young anymore. Kakashi could see the things in his eyes that his other students and younger comrades couldn't see. The suspicion in his eyes, the killer intent that radiated from his every move, the maturity his gaze held. This was not the innocent little genin that he had known 2 years ago. This was a trained killing machine, a true shinobi. "Naruto," Kakashi questioned carefully. "That is not my name," the boy said. "Why do you insist it's not?" Kakashi looked at Hinata as she spoke. "We all know you. I know you know we're telling the truth. Why can't you believe us?" Hinata asked. To anyone else, Naruto would have seemed completely calm. But to Kakashi's trained eyes, there was a definite trembling of the teen's hands. He disappeared from sight, leaving them all shocked and Kakashi wondering what exactly the boy had been told. Chapter 4, Bittersweet Memories. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Zetsu had arrived back at the Akatsuki base and reported what had happened to Pain. Pain glared fiercely at Zetsu. "Why did you let him get away, Zetsu?" Pain hissed. "He insists that he's coming back. He was injured protecting one of the Konoha shinobi. He recognized her." Zetsu replied. Pain gritted his teeth. "He'll contact Konan or Itachi. If either of them leave the base alone without telling me, follow them," Pain stated. Zetsu nodded. "Understood," he said simply and left. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto found himself traveling towards Konoha, although he had no idea where he was going really. His instincts were taking him there. Once he found himself outside the gates of Konoha, hidden in the forest, he wondered what it was that brought him there. He saw the carved faces in the mountainside, like in his dream. There was an extra face, however, the face of a woman. Naruto stared intently at the face. "I know her," Naruto whispered to himself. Another memory came to him then. Naruto was stood in front of the woman. She had blonde hair. "I am Hokage now, so I shouldn't really dirty my hands on a little squirt like you. One finger's all I'm going to need," she stated boldly. "Don't underestimate me, Bachan. I'm going to be Hokage one day," he heard himself say. He charged at the female and felt her finger flick off a headband he'd been wearing. He stared as she brought her fingers to flick his forehead. He closed his eyes in anticipation of the flick, but felt a pair of lips gently touch his forehead instead. Grow up to be a great man. All right, kid, she said kindly. A smile graced her face. Of course, Tsunade Bachan. He heard himself exclaim. Naruto bit his lip hard. Why do I remember people here? Naruto thought to himself. I need to let my instincts guide me. He thought again as he snuck into Konoha, hoping to find the answers to his questions. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kakashi was finished explaining what had happened to Tsunade. So Naruto was there? Tsunade asked. Kakashi nodded, as the other Konoha shinobi stayed quiet. And he had absolutely no memories of Konoha? Tsunade asked again. He seemed to recognize Hinata and Sakura. He was very confused. I didn't really get to speak to him. Kakashi said softly. Hinata, Tsunade questioned. He didn't remember his name at all. He said his name was Kaido, but he knew who I was. He said he'd had a flash of memory of a conversation we'd had. He remembered Sakura. I think he recognized Sasuke. In fact, I think he recognized all of us, even if it was only a little bit. But he was very confused, like he wasn't sure who to believe. He really thinks that Itachi Uchiha is his brother, Hinata stated. Tsunade nodded. We'll have to plan our next move carefully, not only with Naruto, but also with Hashigakure. Tsunade said softly. He protected Hinata from Zetsu's attack. There must be some hope, Sakura exclaimed. There's probably a lot of hope, depending on what Naruto does next. He didn't kill the diplomat, which means we still have a hope of salvaging the peace treaty with Hashigakure. But we also have a chance to help Naruto. If any of you see him, just make sure to let him ask his questions and answer them honestly. He's had enough lies. It'll help him if he sees familiar faces. Tsunade said. The group nodded. Sawa stood in a corner of the room, not really wanting to get involved. But for maybe the first time in his life, he was curious to see how this played out. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto crept through Konoha as silently as possible. He looked around surreptitiously. The buildings were the same as in his dream. He hadn't seen the old man, however. He made his way around in the shadows, hoping not to be spotted. He found himself next to what appeared to be a school. He looked at a lone tree swing, and something clicked again in his mind. Naruto was sat on the swing, looking around at the groups of playing children. He saw who he assumed to be Sasuke, also sitting alone under a tree. He saw a girl he thought to be Sakura, sat with who he assumed to be the blonde Kunoichi he'd seen with the group before. They were all considerably younger, but he just instinctively knew who they were. He also saw Hinata hiding behind a fence, watching him. He heard Sakura and the other girl talking. What are you going to do after school, Ino-chan? Sakura asked the blonde girl. I'm helping in the flower shop. Dad's on a mission, so Mom needs me to help out. Ino said happily. I have to help out at the sweet shop today, too. Mom and Dad are busy, Sakura replied. Naruto stared at them, wondering where his own parents were. That was when a ninja came into the courtyard. He had spiky brown hair, tied into a ponytail and a scar across his nose. Come on, everyone. Break time is over. Back to class, the man yelled. Naruto, against his will, felt himself standing up and running over to the teacher. Irika-sensei. He heard himself shout. Naruto was so very confused. Was the man a teacher or a friend? Maybe he was both. Maybe he didn't even exist. Naruto heard people coming and hid in the tree. He saw students run out into the courtyard. 3 of the students stuck out to him, and one of them in particular. Konohamaru-kun. Are you okay? The girl of the 3 asked. I'm alright, Moegi. I was just thinking about Naruto Nichan. I wonder if he'll come back. Sasuke and Sakura keep saying he's going to, but it's been so long, Konohamaru stated. Konohamaru held a pair of goggles in his hands and looked very downhearted. Again, Naruto was faced with a flashback. Hey, it's a long road to become Hokage. Here, have these, Naruto said to the boy as he handed him the goggles. Konohamaru grinned widely. You mean a boss? Konohamaru asked. Sure, I've already graduated. I got a leaf headband, so you can use these goggles now. Just remember, there isn't an easy road to becoming Hokage. One day we'll battle for the title of Hokage. Naruto said to the boy. He nodded vigorously. Okoi, Naruto, ni tan, he exclaimed loudly. Naruto carried on watching as Konohamaru's two friends, Moegi and Udon, as Naruto found out, tried to comfort him. Then the very same teacher came out of the school, as in his flashback. Okay, everyone, break time is over. Back to class, he called out. As students filed in, Konohamaru ran up to the same Irika-sensei. Irika-sensei, he questioned softly. What's wrong, Konohamaru? Irika asked. Do you think that Naruto Nichan will be back soon? He asked. I think he's going to come back to us one day, Konohamaru. That's something I know from the bottom of my heart. Irika said gently. He has to come back. He promised he was going to battle me for the title of Hokage. He never goes back on his word, Konohamaru exclaimed. Naruto bit his lip as yet another flashback came to him. Naruto stood up and slammed his hand on the desk. Don't underestimate me. I don't quit and I don't run. I never go back on my word. I don't care if I stay a genin for the rest of my life. I'm still going to be Hokage one day. He heard himself yell. He saw Hinata sat next to him, smiling softly. Naruto felt so confused. Was everything I was told a lie? He thought to himself sorrowfully as he left the tree he was sitting in and disappeared with all the stealth he could muster. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sasuke and Sakura started walking down the street sadly. I want to see Naruto again, Sasuke. Sakura said softly. I know a way we can. Sasuke replied. Sasuke started walking in a different direction. Sakura followed after him quickly. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto found himself going through Konoha, sticking to the shadows. His hood never left his head. His face was never exposed. He was still so confused. He soon found himself at a rickety-looking apartment complex. He made his way to the top floor and stood outside the very same green door with the window in the top. He touched the knob of the door, only for the door to open. The door creaked loudly, and Naruto cringed just from the loudness that broke the silence. He walked into the apartment and saw that the place hadn't been lived in for a while. He could see films of dust on everything. Yet images attacked him from every direction. Him sitting on the beat-up couch, him eating instant ramen at the kitchen table, him reaching into the beat-up refrigerator to pick up a carton of milk. Often it was out of date. He walked into what seemed to be the bedroom. He saw the bed and a beaver hat left on the messy bed. He was assailed by images of himself, wearing the hat when he woke up. He walked over to the bedside table and picked up a picture frame that sat there. It was covered thickly with dust, but Naruto couldn't help feeling this need to remove the dust. He wiped the dust off with a rag he saw on bedside table next to the photo frame. What he saw took his breath away. It was him as a 12-year-old. But what took his breath away were the people in the picture with him. He noted the silver-haired jounin that he'd seen with the others, protecting the diplomat. He looked exactly the same, and Naruto felt a lump in his throat. He also saw the ones he knew as Sakura and Sasuke. Sakura was in the middle smiling, Sasuke was on the right side, and he was on the left. The silver-haired jounin had his hands on top of their heads, ruffling their hair, it appeared. Naruto turned the picture over and saw that he'd written on the back of it, Me, Sakura-chan, Kakashi-sensei, and Sasuke team. Naruto read out softly. He picked up another photo frame, also covered in dust, and wiped it clean. He saw a picture of himself with the man he'd remembered being Irika-sensei. He was sat on a stool in what appeared to be a ramen bar. Naruto saw himself sat on the stool next to the brunette male. Both were grinning at the camera and holding chopsticks. Naruto was shoving ramen into his mouth while still grinning. He looked on the back and yet again found a note. Me and Irika-sensei after I graduated the academy. Naruto read out loud again. There were about 4 other pictures along a shelf that was just above his bed. He cleaned them off one by one. The first one was a picture of him as a younger child and the old man from his dream. Me and old man Hokage on my 10th birthday. Naruto read out. He looked at the second picture. It was him with the 3 kids he'd seen at the academy. Me and the Konohamaru Corps before the Chunin exams. Naruto read out. The third picture was a picture of him and the blonde female he knew to be Tsunade Bachan as well as two others. One was a tall, older man with pure white hair. The other was a young woman with short, dark hair. Me, Ero Senin, Tsunade Bachan, and Shizune-chan at the hot springs. Naruto read out. The last picture was a picture of him with Sasuke, Sakura, Hinata, the blonde girl Ino, the male with long, dark hair, a brunette boy with sunglasses, a dark-haired boy with spiky hair that looked like a pineapple, a brunette girl with odangos, a red-haired boy, another blonde girl, a boy with a black bowl haircut, a large-looking brunette boy, a brunette boy with a white puppy on his head, and a boy wearing a black hood with cat ears. He looked at the back of the photo. Me with Sasuke, Sakura, Hinata, Shikamaru, Kiba, Chijino, Lee, Shino, Niji, Tintin, Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro. After Tsunade Bachan came to Konoha. Naruto read. He had placed the pictures back as he had looked at them. He could scarcely believe this was all real. But the handwriting was definitely his on the back of the photos. He felt himself trembling. The urge to cry was overwhelming at that moment. But Itachi had taught him not to cry. A lot more things made sense since he'd been told he wasn't Itachi's brother at all. He could see the resemblances between Sasuke and Itachi, where he'd never seen them between himself and Itachi. He wondered if Sasuke could use Sharingan like Itachi, then remembered his flashback and realized that in fact he could. Naruto knew instinctively that they were telling the truth. He wanted so badly to remember everything, to know exactly what had happened. He heard his front door open, for he knew now that this apartment was in fact his, and he did the only thing he could think of doing. He used chakra to cling to the ceiling as he waited for whoever it was to reveal themselves. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sakura and Sasuke walked into the apartment. Are you sure it's okay for us to be here? Sakura asked. I come here sometimes. When I think that Naruto's getting further away, I come here, and I remember, and I realize that he's going to come back to us one day. Sasuke said softly. Even now that we know he doesn't remember us? Sakura pleaded. Sasuke could see she needed a positive answer. I think he'll remember us. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'll be waiting for my best friend when he wants to come back. Sasuke stated. Sakura smiled softly as they entered Naruto's room. Sasuke, do you think, when Naruto comes back, that he'll want to stay with us? Sakura asked. Sasuke looked at Sakura in surprise. He's always lived here. We're a team, Sasuke, and I stay with you now. I know that you painted that room and everything, but do you really think deep down that he'll stay with us? Sakura asked. I don't honestly know. Sasuke replied. That doesn't mean you can't hope, though. Sasuke added stoically as Sakura nodded. That was when they looked at the photos on the side table and the shelf across the top of Naruto's bed. The photos have been cleaned. Sasuke said softly. Didn't you do that? Sakura asked. No, I've never touched anything in here. Someone's been here, Sasuke stated. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto had listened to the whole conversation. He bit his lip and wondered how he could never know people missed him that much. That was when he heard the end of the conversation. He decided to reveal himself. He jumped down from his position, clinging to the roof, making Sasuke and Sakura jump. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sakura jumped back, and Sasuke pulled out a kunai until he saw the glint of Naruto's familiar necklace. He felt his eyes widen as he put away his kunai. Naruto, Sasuke asked. He saw his old friend pull his hood down, and Sasuke was forced to see just how much Naruto had grown. I believe you all now, Naruto said softly. Do you remember us? Sakura begged. Naruto shook his head, and Sasuke felt his heart drop. I keep getting images. Everywhere I look, everything in here makes me have flashbacks. The pictures. Naruto looked over at the pictures. They all have my handwriting on the back. I wish I could remember everything fully. I don't know why I can't. Naruto said softly. Sasuke saw tears creeping down Sakura's cheeks. Naruto looked so confused. I want to. I look at those pictures, and everyone in them looks happy to be there. I want to remember what their friendships were like. Naruto trailed off when Sakura threw her arms around his neck. Sasuke gave a soft smile. Naruto, we can help you remember. We can. Sakura exclaimed. Stay with us, Naruto. Please. Sakura pleaded. Naruto looked at Sasuke, and Sasuke hoped his eyes were sending the same message. I need to do something first. I'll come back as soon as I've finished it. But I will come back. I swear. Give me 1 week. I'll be back in this apartment. Naruto said softly. He took Sakura's arms from around his neck and gripped her shoulders gently. Don't cry, Sakura-chan. I don't like to see you cry. Naruto said softly. Look after each other. Naruto said gently to Sasuke. Sasuke gave a small smile. We'll see you soon. Sasuke uttered. Naruto gave a small smile and left the apartment before either of his old teammates could say a word. Chapter 5. The Plight of a Sister. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Conan looked out of her window and saw one of her origami birds heading towards her. She cupped a hand around it delicately and opened the message. She bit her lip as she recognized the handwriting. Nei-chan, meet me at the border between Konoha and Suna. I need to talk to you. Kaido. Conan read silently. Her hand shook. Please let him be all right. She thought to herself as she grabbed her own Akatsuki cloak and left the room. She didn't notice that Zetsu had been observing her departure. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Do you think we should go and talk to Tsunade-sama? Sakura asked Sasuke as they left Naruto's apartment. I think so. If we don't tell her and there's trouble, I'm sure she'll be very unhappy. Sasuke said. Sakura gave a smile when she saw that Sasuke had a mocking smirk on his face. We should tell her really, Sakura said softly. Sasuke nodded, and the pair started walking to the Hokage Tower. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Conan has left to see Naruto. Zetsu stated seriously. Bring her back. I don't want her harm Zetsu. I'll make that clear now. You will not hurt her in any way. Pain stated. Zetsu nodded. Listen in to their conversation. I want to know exactly what contact she has with the boy. I want to know how it can be exploited. Pain stated. Zetsu nodded again and disappeared. That seems rather cruel. Itachi stated. Pain glared at him. You care for the boy, do you? Pain asked. I've grown fond of him. He is easily manipulated, however. Itachi replied. So there's no love in you for the boy you adopted as a brother? Pain asked. Itachi glared at his leader furiously. Pain just laughed. We'll see what Zetsu reports back. Pain said, as Itachi glared even more. XXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto was sat in an empty bar. It had been deserted years ago, but Akatsuki members met there often. He sensed a familiar chakra. Hey, Nei-chan, Naruto said softly. He turned to look at the Bluinette. Her face, filled with worry, stared back at him. She ran up to him and hugged him. You're all right. I was worried about you, Kaido. Conan exclaimed. But Kaido isn't my real name. Is it Conan Nei-chan? Naruto questioned. Conan looked at him softly. You know? Did you remember? Conan asked. I keep getting flashes. Naruto is my real name. Did you really intend to just use me? Naruto asked softly. Naruto, it was never my intention to use you. Ever. When you came to the base, you were like a ray of sunshine. Pain told me to make you feel welcome. At first, you were a real mystery to me. But after a while, you really grew on me. You've become family to me, Naruto. I never had a family, apart from Pain. Not since my parents and little brother were murdered when I was just a small child. I never wanted you to get hurt. Conan said softly. Naruto looked into her eyes. I believe you, but does that mean you'll let me go? Naruto asked. Conan nodded. I didn't tell Pain I was coming here. I don't want him to try and control you. Go back to that village of yours, Naruto. Not all the people there cared about you, but you do have friends. People that truly love you and want you back home. Conan said kindly. What about you? Naruto asked. I'll go back to the Akatsuki, where I've been since I was a child. But sometimes, maybe, I'll get to come and visit you? I don't know, but I'll definitely be checking up on you. I don't know how, but I will see you every so often. Conan pleaded. Her eyes looked saddened. You'll always be Conan Nei-chan to me. I'm not exactly going to turn you in if you do come to visit me. Naruto replied. Conan hugged Naruto tightly. Naruto hugged her back. You're so forgiving, Naruto. I don't know how you can be. Conan whispered. Because I guess I want to be better than my others. Naruto replied. Conan grinned. You know, your dream was to be the greatest Hokage. Did any of your friends in Konoha remind you about that? Conan asked. Hinata did. Naruto replied. I really think you could be Naruto. I don't know what makes me believe in you, but I do. You'll be a great Hokage. Maybe you'll be a great peacekeeper too. Conan added wistfully. I'll find a way to bring everyone into peace. A world where everyone understands each other. Naruto said. Conan nodded. What about Itachi? Naruto asked. I am sorry, Naruto. I think he does have a certain fondness for you. But he was the one who instigated the idea of lying to you about your own past. He was using you as a weapon. I wish I could tell you if he cared about you or not. Itachi is a mystery to everyone who knows him. Strangely enough, it's that mystery that makes him who he is. Conan said softly. Naruto nodded. One day I'll have it out with him. But not today. I think I need to go back home, Nachon. Just make sure you keep your promise. Come and visit me. I'll miss you the most out of everyone in Akatsuki, you know. Naruto stated chirpily. Conan nodded. I will, Naruto. I swear. Conan replied. That was when a shadow passed over them. They both turned to look at Zetsu. Meeting up with a traitor, Conan, I thought you had better sense. Zetsu stated. Leave Conan Nachon alone. She was trying to convince me to come back, but I refused. Naruto yelled. What a bad liar you are, Naruto. I just heard your whole heartbreaking conversation. I've been told to bring you back, Conan. Leader Sama has asked that I bring you back unharmed. Zetsu stated sarcastically. Conan glared, and Naruto joined her. I won't let you hurt Conan Nachon. Naruto hissed. What are you going to do, brat? Kill me? Zetsu questioned. If I have to, Naruto replied. Fine then, boy. If you want to fight, I'll fight you. Just remember, I'm not under any instructions concerning you. Zetsu hissed. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Tsunade listened to Sakura and Sasuke's account of seeing Naruto again. So, he says he's coming back here? Tsunade asked hopefully. Yes, Tsunade sure show. He said he needed to talk to someone first. Sakura replied. Sasuke nodded in agreement. Tsunade smiled widely. Jiraiya, you pervert. Get in here. Tsunade called. Jiraiya, as usual, hopped in through the window, grinning like a nutcase. I suppose you just heard the conversation? Tsunade asked. Of course I did. You want me to go and check out what the brat is up to? Jiraiya asked. Tsunade nodded. Sakura and Sasuke stared at Tsunade. If he's in danger, we can't ignore it. Tsunade replied. The two younger ninja nodded their understanding. Chapter 6, Itachi's Secret. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto and Conan stared at Itachi in wonder. Why did you save me, Itachi? Naruto asked. Because you remind me of Sasuke. So much so that I felt the need to protect you. Itachi said softly. I don't get that in the slightest. You brought him to us, Itachi. You took advantage of his memory loss. Conan stated. If I hadn't, then what would have happened, Conan? He would have had the QB removed from him, and he would have been killed in the process. I wanted to save him. At first, it was to try and keep one bond alive for my brother. But as you've said, the brat grows on you. Itachi replied. Conan looked down at the floor. Why does Sasuke hate you so much, Itachi? I know that I knew, but I just can't remember. Naruto asked, his face completely serious. I was accused of murdering the whole Uchiha clan, apart from Sasuke. Itachi answered. Did you kill them? Naruto asked. Yes. Itachi's answer was as quick and effective as a hammer blow. But why would you do that? Naruto asked. Itachi took a breath and sat on one of the bar stools. I wanted to protect Sasuke. Itachi was trying to avoid the whole story, and Naruto could tell. Why would he need protecting from his family? Naruto asked. If I tell you, I must ask you to promise never to breathe a word to Sasuke. He thought our family were perfect. He can never know the truth. Itachi replied. Naruto thought for a few moments, then nodded his head. I promise he'll never hear it from me. Naruto replied. Itachi visibly relaxed. Then he started his tale. It started when I got promoted to Umbu, Itachi said. Itachi walked home from another mission. He'd been accepted into Umbu, and he knew his father was waiting for him to come and tell him of his triumph. He walked into their family meeting room without a word and knelt before his father. Your entry into Umbu was a success, I assume? His father asked. Itachi nodded. It went as well as you expected it to. Itachi replied. Good. Why did you insist upon me going to Sasuke's inauguration ceremony? His father hissed. He'd suspect something was wrong if you didn't go. You were his father, after all. Itachi replied. He received a slap to his face. Don't call me that creature's father. Keep in mind that he's not a brother of yours. He's a demon. Now that you're a part of Umbu, you can help rid us of him without any trace. His father stated angrily. He got up and left the room, leaving Itachi to bite his lip angrily. How can you hate Sasuke for carrying a creature that you had placed inside of him yourself? Itachi thought. He heard a noise near the door. He turned to see Sasuke staring at him oddly. Why does father look angry, Aniki? Sasuke asked, his face filled with confusion. He just didn't like something I said, Sasuke. Itachi replied. He can never know that his own father and clan think so little of him. Itachi thought. I made it into Umbu. Itachi told his brother. Sasuke grinned widely. If it was possible, Sasuke looked happier about the promotion than Itachi was. That's great, Aniki. Did you tell father yet? He'll be happy when you do tell him. He wanted you to be in Umbu. Maybe you can help me with my shuriken jutsu. Sasuke exclaimed happily. I'm sorry, Sasuke, not today. Itachi replied. Sasuke looked at him, mouth pouting cutely, and Itachi poked him in the forehead. Ow, do you have to do that, Aniki? Sasuke asked. Itachi got up from where he was sat and ruffled his little brother's hair affectionately. I'll see you soon, Sasuke. Itachi stated and left the room, leaving his small brother to ponder as always. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Itachi glared at his father as they faced each other. You want Sasuke to love you before he dies, father? Having second thoughts about ending his life? Itachi asked. He was angry that his father was manipulating his little brother. As you keep saying, he'd be suspicious if we act differently towards him. I attempted to teach the brat a jutsu, and he can't do it. It's not going to make a difference. His father stated angrily. I'm not going to let you manipulate Sasuke anymore. He's my little brother, not a pet project. Itachi yelled. His father stood up, towering above Itachi. Are you intending to betray this clan? All the members of our clan know what Sasuke is. I will not risk the danger of his becoming unstable. If you can't commit the deed, I'll find someone who will. Fugaku Uchiha hissed out at his eldest child. Itachi glared. Who, father? Is there someone so sick they want to kill a 7-year-old child from their own family? Itachi spat out. He's not a child. If you cared about this clan and your duty to it, you'd finish that demon yourself. But of course, you want to shirk your duties. I'll find someone who's more loyal to this family to do the job I ask. Fugaku stated angrily. Itachi shook with anger as his father left the room. XXXXXXXXXXXXXX. It was sunset. Itachi was standing over the corpse of his cousin Shursui, his best friend who had to die at his own hand. Fugaku had indeed found a replacement to kill Sasuke, and Itachi had just made sure that the replacement was out of commission. Killing Shursui hadn't been easy. In fact, it had been the hardest decision he'd ever had to make, but he'd done it anyway. To protect his baby brother. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. As Itachi went through the Uchiha estate, a few weeks later, he heard people whispering wherever he went. That's Itachi, isn't it? Isn't he suspected of killing Shursui? Apparently his brother did it, and they're trying to keep it quiet. They say he's a Jinchuriki. He needs to be killed. We can't put the village in danger. We must protect our clan's honor. Itachi heard whispers like that wherever he went within the clan's estate. He knew Sasuke would never hear these whispers. His clan were too frightened of him. Itachi knew his father had started the rumors. His father knew that he had killed Shursui, but he didn't want to lose his only heir. Sasuke wasn't important enough to their father. He knew his father was trying to incite an attack against Sasuke, especially when he'd mastered the Grand Fireball Jutsu. Itachi bit his lip angrily as he heard a few men talking about getting rid of the demon tonight, and his blood ran cold. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Stop it, Itachi. Your father wouldn't do such a thing. He loves you and your brother. Itachi heard his mother yell as he fought his own father. His father looked like a man possessed. He managed to trip Itachi and send him sprawling to the floor. Sheer anger made him fight on. Fugaku prepared to run Itachi through, and that was when Mikoto Uchiha threw herself over her eldest child's body. Itachi's eyes widened as he heard the impact of the sword to his mother's body. The look of pain that crossed his mother's face would be etched into his mind forever. Mikoto Uchiha collapsed, and Itachi gently moved her so that she was lying down on her back. Her blood created a puddle around her on the floor. Fugaku looked at his sword like a man in shock. Look after your little brother, Itachi. Look after Sasuke. Make sure both of you are safe. Mikoto whispered. Those were her last words as her breath left her body. Itachi felt numb inside. His hands shook as he looked at his father. How could you? You lied to my mother. You never told her what you did to Sasuke, did you? You turned him into a Jinchuriki, and you never told her. You hated him and never thought for 1 second that all he wanted was your acceptance. He trained the whole week to master that jutsu, just so you'd accept him, just so you'd give him a little praise. You incited the clan against him. It was you who spread those rumors, wasn't it? How could you do that to your child? Itachi yelled. His anger over his father's ways came out in a long verbal tirade. Fugaku Uchiha looked at Itachi angrily. You refused your duty to this family. You gave me no choice. You attacked me, your own father, without remorse. Killed your cousin Shursui, your best friend. For what? A demon container? Now your mother is dead. Soon that boy will be dead. It's time to make a decision. On whose side do you wish to be? Fugaku yelled back. Itachi glared at Fugaku with nothing but hatred. I chose my side a long time ago. Sasuke is my baby brother. He depends on me. I choose him above all others. No one is alive to kill Sasuke. I finished them all off. If Mother had insisted on Sasuke's death, I would have killed her too. But I knew she had no idea. You never told her the truth for her to have any opportunities to make a decision. I won't allow you to hurt Sasuke. I've lost everything that matters to me today, but not him. Not yet. So you might as well give up, father. Itachi stated calmly. Fugaku looked horrified. You killed everyone? Fugaku asked shakily. Everyone. Itachi replied. There were no children, apart from Sasuke and I here. Everyone was older than me apart from Shursui. But Shursui and I were the same age. If I could fight with and kill my best friend, father, what shocks you so much about me killing everyone else? Itachi asked. Fugaku Uchiha looked at his eldest child with loathing. You murdered your own kin. Fugaku yelled. You would murder your own kin. Wasn't it supposed to be me on the end of your sword instead of my mother? Didn't you plan to kill Sasuke? Then you have a nerve to talk to me about kin? Itachi asked. Fugaku growled angrily and jumped forward to attack his son. Itachi used his own sword to run his father through. You will never hurt anyone again, father. You and this clan are through. Sasuke will make this clan a better one. Itachi hissed. He let his father drop to the ground. That was when he heard running footsteps. Sasuke burst into the room. He looked terrified. He didn't even seem to see Itachi at first. Mother? Father, Sasuke said softly. He looked at his butchered parents, tears streaming down his cheeks, and then he saw Itachi. Aniki? Who did this? Everyone's dead. Aniki, Sasuke exclaimed pitifully. It was this moment that Itachi had decided to lie. This moment that Itachi would tell his brother that he'd murdered the clan to test his potential. I can never tell him the truth about them. He'd never understand. Itachi thought as he told Sasuke the lie that would last for the rest of their lives. Naruto and Itachi stared at each other. Sasuke's a Jinchuriki? Like me? Naruto asked softly. Itachi nodded. Naruto had always known he was a Jinchuriki. Even without all of his memories, he'd been quick to find out about the Kyuubi, who lived in a place deep within him. Naruto had come into contact with Kyuubi on more than one occasion, whilst training and meditating. Though the demon Fox had never addressed him by his name, only as brat. Naruto wondered why the fox had never said anything to him about who he was, but dismissed the thought as he realized the fox would have no need to tell Naruto anything. They weren't exactly friends after all. For the Goyubi, the five-tailed bull, he doesn't know Naruto. He can never know, Itachi stated. But he's in danger, and he doesn't even know it. Naruto yelled. Naruto knew, from experience, just how dangerous being a Jinchuriki could be. No, he isn't in danger. The beast has never attempted to escape Sasuke. Either his will is strong, or the beast just likes it where he is. Either way, Sasuke seems to have it under control. Sandaime knew what had happened. I told him what I had done, what my father had done, and I left it in his hands. Itachi said. Naruto nodded his understanding. But what about Tsunade Bachan? Shouldn't she know? Naruto asked. There is a letter for the new Hokage in a special compartment of the Hokage's desk. You may tell her about it, if you choose to. She will make the decision to tell Sasuke or not. But I'm asking you not to tell him. You're his friend. He wouldn't accept the information well from you. Itachi stated. Naruto sighed and nodded his head in agreement. I suppose that means that I'll be bringing Itachi to visit too. Conan joked. You do realize we will have to tell Pain that you killed Zetsu, right? Itachi asked blandly. Naruto nodded. Understand. Say what you need to say. I'll tell Tsunade Bachan what happened. If you choose to come back to the village, I'm sure it won't bother her. But be careful, just in case. Naruto replied. At that point, both Conan and Itachi said their goodbyes and left, leaving Naruto to make his way back to the village. None of them knew that they had been watched. Jiraiya saw Naruto and decided to keep the conversation to himself. And of course Tsunade. He jumped down from his hiding place next to Naruto. Naruto jumped in fright. He glared at the white-haired man. I know you're right. Naruto asked. Know me? Of course you do. I'm the all-powerful Toad Sage Jiraiya. Jiraiya was cut off by Naruto, staring and laughing. Hey, that's highly insulting, Gaki, Jiraiya stated irritably. Rosinin, Naruto yelled through his laughter. Jiraiya saw the note of recognition in the boy's eyes and decided, just this once, to let it go. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sasuke and Sakura waited at the gates until midnight. Neither of them moved, hoping for a glimpse of their friend. That was when Sakura made out a white blur through the trees. Someone's coming, Sasuke, Sakura exclaimed. They watched as Jiraiya landed in front of them with Naruto in tow. Sakura threw her arms around Naruto's neck and hugged him tightly. Sasuke lightly punched Naruto in the shoulder. Naruto punched him back. The two boys smirked at each other. Sakura just held on tightly to Naruto, subconsciously afraid that if she let him go, he would once again disappear. Come on, Naruto. Why don't you come back with us? Sasuke asked. Yeah, I think I will. I need to go and see Tsunade Bachan in the morning, though. Naruto replied. I'll come and get you, Gaki, Jiraiya said. Before Naruto could agree, the white-haired male disappeared. Come on, Naruto. Let's go home, Sakura said excitedly. Naruto nodded as Sakura linked arms with him and Sasuke. She started leading them towards the Uchiha estate. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Jiraiya leaned against Tsunade's office window, his face the picture of seriousness. Tsunade's face was grave-looking. Do you believe what Itachi said? Tsunade asked. It depends. If you find a letter from Sarutobi-sensei, it's probably all true. If so, it's your decision to tell the boy or not, Jiraiya replied. Tsunade gnawed her lip for a moment. I need to think about this, Tsunade said. She looked shell-shocked, and Jiraiya understood why. The idea that they'd had two Jinchuriki in their village instead of one, all this time, and no one had had a clue. It was a frightening prospect. Naruto will be telling you in the morning. Itachi asked him to keep it secret from Sasuke, which he promised to do, but he also promised to tell you the whole story. Jiraiya said. Tsunade nodded. I need to compose myself before he talks to me. Is he safe? Tsunade asked. He's with Sasuke and Sakura. They're taking him home with them, Jiraiya replied. A grin spread across both of their faces. Finally, Naruto has a place to call home. They both thought to themselves. XXXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto was looking around the room that Sakura and Sasuke had brought him to. It was a bright azure blue, with orange swirls decorating and complementing the blue paint. There was a comfortable-looking bed with the same designed quilt cover, and a beaver cap of green rested on the pillow. There were also 3 plants on his windowsill. They looked very healthy and well cared for. In the room were simple furnishings, a desk and chair, a wardrobe, a chest of drawers, and a cabinet with a lamp on it. His 2 friends looked at him expectantly. Surprisingly, Naruto found himself liking the room. Where did the plants come from? Naruto asked. They're your plants. I got them from your apartment and bought them here. I didn't want them to die while you were gone. You always loved those things. Sasuke replied softly. And the cap is yours too. They left your pack when they took you. The cap was inside. You always wore it to sleep in. Sakura said softly. Who did all this? Naruto asked. I sewed the quilt cover. Sasuke painted. Sakura replied. Naruto smiled at his 2 friends. It was a real, brilliant smile, like one of the very smiles he'd had before he'd been lost. Thanks, Naruto said softly, his voice full of emotion. Sakura and Sasuke didn't say anything. We all need some sleep. Everyone will be glad you're back, Naruto. Sasuke said. Naruto nodded. Chapter 7. The Revelation Expose. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Tsunade hated to look at the letter she'd found. It had been where Itachi had told Naruto it would be. She opened it that morning, feeling like she was about to seal someone else's fate. To my successor. I'm growing older, and as things stand, I doubt I will be choosing the next Hokage. Whoever you may be, congratulations on the post. With this job, however, comes great responsibilities. There's a book of records from all of the events I'm about to tell you, in a book hidden in a cavity behind the picture of the 4th Hokage. Firstly, Naruto Uzumaki, Konoha's well-known Jinchuriki, is the child of Kushina Uzumaki, a former ninja of Yuzusho Kagure, who joined Konoha's forces in Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage. On his 18th birthday, he must be told. However, if you choose to tell him earlier, I will leave it to your discretion. He was given his mother's maiden name as requested by the council, because of a statement made by Fugaku Uchiha. He stated that letting people know the Hokage had created a Jinchuriki out of his own child would make us look weak in the eyes of the other nations. Of course, I knew it was because he didn't want his old rival to have any more of an advantage in death over him. Naruto's father's estate has been left in trust with Jiraiya to be looked after until his 18th birthday. Everything that he could ever need or want is provided for. Another matter is the massacre of the Uchiha clan. Itachi Uchiha told me of what he had done. While he killed his own family members, he was a child and wanted to protect his brother, who I have been told was made a Jinchuriki for the Goyubi. Fugaku Uchiha and the others who participated in that ritual would have been executed for such a practice in this case. To make a Jinchuriki to boost the power of your own clan is not acceptable in Konoha. On Sasuke's 18th birthday, he is to be told the truth of what happened to his family. Also, he is to be told about what is sealed within him. Everything that happened has been written in a report by a medic of high caliber who is sworn to secrecy. All examinations proved that Mikoto Uchiha had died by the hand of her own husband. Itachi didn't want his brother to know about his family. He wanted to leave Sasuke's innocent outlook of his family intact. Also, Sakura Haruno, the adopted child of the Haruno sweet shop owners, is the child of Kakashi Hitaki and Rin Noara. Rin was killed on a mission, and one of her subordinates bought the child back. Rin asked that Kakashi be told about his daughter, but her teammate, Nirabu Uchiha, took Sakura to his friend's home, as his friend and his wife were unable to have children of their own, and I was not given the information until I placed her on Kakashi's squad. Her adopted father told me the truth of her paternity, and at that point, I didn't feel I could destroy a child's whole outlook of life. I wished to protect Sakura Haruno, and so I didn't tell her the truth, but I informed her adoptive parents that she would stay on Kakashi's squad so that she could know her biological father in some small role. Telling Kakashi would have made the situation worse at this point. Once again, I do not know how situations will have changed at the time a successor is chosen for the role of Hokage. So I will leave this information in your hands. There are several other pieces of information in the record book I've left behind. There are many things that cannot be explained by a simple letter. I wish you the best of luck, and I shall leave you with these last words. Being Hokage is not just about doing what you think is best, but also what is right, no matter the situation. Yours sincerely, Hiruzen Sarutobi, Sandaime Hokage. Tsunade sighed. How in the name of God am I supposed to tell these kids this stuff and not tear their whole world apart? Tsunade questioned out loud. She found the book quickly after that. The reports of the Uchiha clan were extensive. It appeared that Mikoto had been killed trying to shield someone. Tsunade guessed it must have been Itachi. Tsunade remembered Mikoto as a good, kind woman who wouldn't hurt a soul. Fugaku and the other members of the Uchiha clan had been killed by Itachi, but he'd admitted to doing that. Tsunade sighed as she'd read over those reports. He was just 12 years old, and he made a terrible choice to protect his brother. Tsunade thought. She also wondered what she would have done in his situation. She quickly removed herself from that train of thought. She knew it would only hurt her to think about it. Of course, she read through the reports on Rin Nohara's death. Rin Nohara had been run through, deflating one of her lungs and puncturing one of the main arteries to her heart. The medic who treated had just enough time to perform a cesarean and save her child, who Rin had named Sakura. The baby was healthy, and after holding her child once, Rin Nohara slipped away from blood loss to her heart. She had revealed the father of her child to be Kakashi Hitaki in a personal diary that had been bought back with her belongings. Tsunade sighed sadly to herself as she pondered the fate of her younger apprentice. Rin had been a medic nin, so Sakura's talent for it was not a surprise. In fact, it was more explainable than it had been before with Sakura having no ninja parents. She knew that she had to tell Sasuke about his hidden past. Should the Goyubi decide to try and control its host, then Sasuke wouldn't have a chance of fighting back without foreknowledge. So despite how negative the reaction she might get, telling Sasuke was something she had to do. Tsunade also had to think about what to say to Sakura and Kakashi. After all, Sakura's parents had disowned her. Sakura had no one. The idea of her apprentice being alone in the world when she didn't need to be weighed heavily on Tsunade's heart. She decided that she should also tell Sakura and Kakashi what she had found out. Naruto, however, she knew she couldn't tell yet. Not until he remembered who he was fully. He needed to have a full memory and no distractions before she could tell him the truth about his parents. I don't want to damage him more than he already is damaged, Tsunade thought to herself sadly. She saw Jiraiya hop in through her window. Jiraiya, go and get Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi. Bring them here. Take Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke to stay with Shizune until Naruto and I have talked. Then I want you to send Kakashi to me after I've spoken to Naruto, Tsunade stated boldly. What did you read? Jiraiya asked. Tsunade showed Jiraiya the letter and book. Jiraiya's eyes went wide as he let out a low whistle through his teeth. Sarutobi-sensei definitely knew how to keep a secret. This book holds all the dirty dealings of the Uchiha clan before Itachi wiped them out, Jiraiya stated. That's not all it holds, Tsunade said softly. I know. I'll go and get them, Jiraiya said kindly. He left, letting Tsunade go back to her thoughts. There were many things in that little book that she needed to ponder over. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kakashi was watching his students sparring in the Uchiha compound's training ground. Naruto had improved a great deal, but he was careful how he attacked his teammates. Sakura came and sat down next to Kakashi to watch her two male teammates spar. Kakashi-sensei, do you think we can ever get back to the way we were before? Sakura asked softly. Kakashi ruffled Sakura's pink hair. We'll never get back to exactly the way we were Sakura, but we'll be closer. I think that's somehow better. Kakashi replied. Sakura smiled softly, and Kakashi was reminded of his late teammate. I wonder what you would have been like now, Rin. Kakashi asked in his mind. What are you thinking about, Sensei? Sakura asked. Nothing much, Sakura. It appears we have company. Kakashi replied, as he felt the presence of another chakra. Sasuke and Naruto also noticed, and the group turned to see Jiraiya turn up. Hi, Jiraiya-san, Sakura said cheerfully. Ei, ero sinin. Naruto yelled. Don't call me that, Gaki. Jiraiya yelled back. Naruto smirked. What's wrong, Jiraiya-san? Kakashi asked. Tsunade wants to see you all. So, I'm being the errand boy and coming to find you, Jiraiya stated irritably. The group all made their way to the Hokage Tower, and Jiraiya stopped outside Shizen's office. Kakashi, Sakura, Sasuke, you guys wait here for a minute. Tsunade wants to speak to Naruto first. Jiraiya told them. Naruto gulped slightly. The others waited with Shizen, while Naruto was escorted to the Hokage's office. When they walked in, Tsunade looked at Naruto softly. The first thing she did was walk up to the boy and hug him. Naruto found himself hugging Tsunade back. It's been so long, Naruto. How are you doing, Gaki? She asked gently. Naruto smiled at the blonde female. I didn't know I missed you so much until I remembered you, Bachan. Naruto said softly. Tsunade smiled and her eyes went teary. She shook her head to get rid of her tearful expression, then her face turned serious. I know you want to tell me something, but I already know, Tsunade said kindly. How? Naruto asked. I found a letter from Sandame. He was very specific. Also, Jiraiya heard your conversation, Tsunade said pointedly. Naruto pouted and gave Jiraiya a slight glare. So, you were following me last night, Naruto stated. Well, your friends were worried that you were in danger. Tsunade was worried you were in danger. I was worried about Yagaki. It made sense to follow you, just in case. Jiraiya said. Naruto shrugged. That saves the horrible conversation I was worried about having. Naruto said mischievously. I will need to tell Sasuke. You do realize that, Naruto? Tsunade asked. I knew it would be up to you. Itachi asked me not to tell Sasuke, but I told him that I couldn't stop you if you chose to. Naruto replied. You're clever, then we give you credit for Gaki. Tsunade said softly. You want me to tell Sasuke to come in? Naruto asked. No, tell Kakashi I want to talk to him first. I found out a lot of things from the letter I got from my old sensei. Tsunade replied. Naruto nodded and left the room. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kakashi watched as Sakura and Sasuke just looked out of the window. He heard the door open. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto questioned quietly. Yes, Naruto? Kakashi asked. Tsunade Bachan wants to talk to you, Naruto replied. Kakashi nodded and got up, leaving his students to their own devices. He walked into the office, wondering what Tsunade might want to speak to him about. Kakashi, you might want to sit down, Tsunade told him. I'd rather stand, Kakashi replied. Tsunade sighed. The first thing I want to ask is, does Sakura have any contact with the Harunos? Tsunade asked. No, they disowned her and haven't spoken to her since I took her to gather her things from her room there. They seem to have adopted another child, as a replacement, I suppose. Kakashi answered. How much do you know about your late teammate, Rin Nohara's death? Tsunade asked. She was sent on a year-long mission. 6 months later, her team returned. I was told she'd been killed. Kakashi trailed off. I hate thinking about Rin's death. Why does she have to ask this now? Kakashi thought to himself. Tsunade-sama, what has this got to do with Sakura? Kakashi asked. There were a few things you weren't told about her death. She was indeed killed on her mission. Just before she died, a doctor performed a cesarean and saved her child, a daughter that she named Sakura. Tsunade said. Kakashi's eyes went wide. What? Kakashi looked at Tsunade with not only confusion, but anger. What are you talking about? Kakashi asked. Rin left this village pregnant. She didn't tell anyone until she was injured, fatally. She knew she would die and asked for the child she was carrying to be saved. One of her team members, Nirabu Uchiha, brought the child back here. He gave her to the Harunos who were unable to have children of their own and who he was great friend with. This was against Rin's last wishes. Tsunade told Kakashi slowly. A child? Rin had a child. Kakashi found himself stuttering as he sank down into a chair. Haruno? Sakura is Rin's daughter. Kakashi burst out. Rin's last wish was that Sakura be given to her father. Tsunade said softly. Kakashi blinked in confusion. She named you as the father Kakashi. I need to know if that's possible. Tsunade asked. Kakashi felt like he'd gone into a daze. Me and Rin. That only happened once we both agreed we shouldn't have. She was pregnant? Why didn't she tell me? Kakashi questioned in his mind. Yes, it is more than possible. Kakashi said softly. Sakura's my daughter? Kakashi questioned silently. Tsunade nodded. I didn't want to tell her until I knew all the facts, Kakashi. I think she deserves to know the truth about herself. What I want to know from you now is will you accept or reject her? Tsunade asked. Kakashi growled angrily under his breath. I would never reject my own child, Tsunade-sama. If I had known I had a child, I would have spent every day of my life raising her. I want to know how Rin's wishes were forgotten, in all honesty. Kakashi questioned. It appears that it was Nirabu Uchiha who ignored her wishes. By the time Sandame knew that she was your child, she'd already called the Harunos her parents for 12 years. Tsunade replied. What? Kakashi asked. He was even more confused. When the Harunos found that Sakura had been placed on your team, they wanted for her to be put in a different squad. They knew you were her father biologically. Nirabu Uchiha must have told them, but they didn't see fit to tell you themselves. They didn't want her growing an attachment to you, I suppose. Sandame said that you and she should know each other, even in some small way. After all, they'd robbed you of the chance to be a family. That doesn't have to be the case anymore, Kakashi. Tsunade told the silver-haired Jounin. Kakashi nodded with certainty. How am I going to tell her all of this? Kakashi asked. I'll be telling her. This diary was left among Rin's possessions. Tsunade handed a small bag to Kakashi. He handed it back. You should give them to Sakura. She'll want to know about her mother. Kakashi said softly. There was a knock at the door then. Shizen poked her head in. Tsunade-sama, Naruto and Sasuke are having a fight in the office. Shizen stated. What? What do you mean having a fight? Tsunade yelled. Well, you see, they're throwing paper balls at each other. Shizen replied. She looked as confused as Kakashi and Tsunade felt. Are you serious, Shizen? Tsunade asked. Shizen nodded. They're balling up paper and throwing it at each other. I've never seen such a strange thing in all my life. Shizen stated. Kakashi stood up and made to leave the room. I'll go and deal with them, Kakashi said. A tone of amusement was evident in his voice. I bet you will. You'll probably encourage them, Tsunade stated. All three ninja smirked to themselves. Kakashi left the room then. Shizen, can you go and get Sakura, please? Tsunade asked. Shizen nodded, and Tsunade prepared herself mentally for what she was about to tell her young apprentice. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sakura had been watching her friends have a stupid paperball throwing contest for the last 20 minutes. I've never seen them act like normal kids before. Sakura thought to herself. She saw Kakashi come in then. He gave her the strangest look. Is something wrong, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked. No, Sakura. Everything's fine, Kakashi replied. Wow, he's acting strange. Why is everyone so weird today? Sakura thought to herself as Shizen came back into the room. Shizen gave her a smile. Sakura, Tsunade-sama wants to speak to you, Shizen said softly. Sakura nodded and left the bedlam of the office, where Kakashi-sensei had just joined in the paperball fight. Sakura walked up to the office door and knocked politely. Komein. She heard Tsunade call from the inside of the room. Sakura opened the door and walked in. As soon as she saw the expression on her teacher's face, she immediately felt as though Tsunade were about to tell her something extremely serious. You wanted to see me, Tsunade Shursho? Sakura asked softly. Yes, Sakura. There's something I need to tell you. It would be best if you sit down. Tsunade supplied. Sakura sat down in a chair in front of the desk. What's wrong, Shursho? Sakura asked. Her mind darted around all the possibilities. There's something very important that I need to tell you, and I want you to listen carefully to what I'm going to say. Tsunade said softly. Sakura nodded, waiting for Tsunade to carry on. This is going to be difficult to tell you, but it's something you need to know. I found a letter from Sandame. It stated quite a few things that were left to my discretion whether I chose to disclose the information or not. There was a piece of information that pertained to you, Sakura. Are you following me so far? Tsunade asked. Sakura stared at Tsunade with wide eyes. Why would Sandame have information about me? What did I do? Sakura asked. No, Sakura, you didn't do anything. This is something that was done to you. Tsunade said kindly to her student. Sakura was very confused. What was done to me? Sakura asked. Tsunade sighed. The Harunos adopted you, Sakura. They weren't your biological parents. Tsunade said softly. Sakura felt sick. I was lied to? Sakura asked. Yes. Your mother was a ninja of this village. A medic nin just like you. Apparently, she was very good at medical ninjutsu. Tsunade said kindly. Who was she? Sakura asked. Her name was Rin Noera. She left this village on a year-long mission, but she didn't know she was pregnant when she left. She was fatally injured 6 months into the mission. She told one of her teammates of her condition, and a medic delivered you by cesarean. You were healthy, but Rin died very shortly after holding you. She named you Sakura and asked that you be given to your father. Tsunade said softly. My father? Sakura asked. Sakura, Rin used to be on the same Jinin squad as your sensei, Kakashi. It's him she named as your father. Tsunade said softly. Sakura felt like the whole world had stopped spinning. Is it true? Sakura asked. Kakashi was just as shocked as you were when I asked him. He never knew that Rin was pregnant. But he said it's more than a possibility. Tsunade told her young student. Sakura blinked and looked down at the floor shakily. Did he not want me? Is that why I got adopted? Sakura asked softly. No, Sakura. Don't think that. Kakashi didn't even know you were his child until today. He told me that if he had known, he would have raised you himself. He thought you were really their child, Sakura. Tsunade said softly. Sakura felt tears come to her eyes. Why wasn't I given to him then? Sakura asked. Why was I lied to? Sakura added. Tears streaked down her cheeks. She looked at Tsunade, begging for an answer. The teammate of your mother's that brought you back to Konoha. His name was Nirabu Uchiha. He decided on his own to give you over to the Haruno family. He never told anyone about your parentage apart from your adopted parents. Why they never told anyone? I don't know the answer to that, Sakura. You need to ask them that yourself. Tsunade said softly. Can I talk to Kaka? I mean to my father for a minute? I guess that's what I should call him. Sakura uttered. Sure. I'll let you two talk by yourselves for a minute. Tsunade said softly. Sakura nodded, and she watched as Tsunade got up from her desk chair. She walked over to the door. Sakura, Tsunade said before she opened the door. Yes, Tsunade Shursho? Sakura asked. That pack on the table belonged to your mother. Kakashi thought you might want to have it. It was what was in her pack on her last mission. It includes a diary. Tsunade replied gently. Sakura nodded and picked up the pack, holding it to her chest. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kakashi had finally gotten Sasuke and Naruto to stop acting like little children. They'd finally finished their paperball fight. The two boys were grinning at each other stupidly. What's wrong with you two today? Normally you fight like a pair of dogs over a bone. Today you're goofing around like a pair of children. Kakashi exclaimed. There's nothing wrong with enjoying life, sensei. Sasuke said mockingly. Yeah, Kakashi-sensei. You never know when things might change. Naruto stated. Kakashi couldn't deny that fact. That was when Tsunade came in. She inclined with her head towards the door, and that was all Kakashi needed to know. He sighed as he walked towards Tsunade's office and opened the door. He saw Sakura sitting on the chair in front of Tsunade's desk. She looked dazed and was hugging Rin's packed her chest. Tears streaked down her cheeks. Kakashi felt his instincts as a teacher, let alone a parent, take over. He walked over and knelt in front of Sakura. "Sakura?" he questioned softly. She blinked a little and then looked at Kakashi. "Why did everyone lie to me?" she asked softly. "I don't know, Sakura, but I'll find out. I promise, Sakura. I promise you I'll find out why this happened," Kakashi said softly. Sakura nodded. "So, you're my father, sensei? Am I supposed to call you dad, father, or sensei?" Sakura questioned. "You can call me whatever feels natural to you, Sakura. I don't want to push you to call me dad. I've missed your whole life." Kakashi looked down at the floor, saddened. "So, it really wasn't that you didn't want me?" Sakura asked. Kakashi looked back up at Sakura. He could see that fear in her eyes. The fear of complete rejection. Kakashi gave Sakura a smile. "No, it was never like that, Sakura. If I knew I had a child, I would have been looking after you. I wouldn't have allowed the Harunos to take you," Kakashi said softly. Sakura nodded her head shakily and threw her arms around Kakashi's neck. She held on to him tightly as she sobbed. Kakashi hugged her back, knowing she was relieved that she hadn't been rejected twice in her lifetime. She also knew that she had family that cared about her. It made a difference for him as well. To know he had a child brought out a feeling inside of him that he'd never before experienced. "I'll make sure you're safe, Sakura, no matter what," Kakashi thought to himself. Dad, I think we need to go and visit the people that called themselves my parents," Sakura said softly. Kakashi smiled. "We'll go and do that whenever you're ready," Kakashi said kindly. Sakura nodded and looked at the pack sadly. "Will you tell me what she was like?" Sakura asked. "Of course I will. Whenever you want," Kakashi replied. Sakura nodded her understanding as she stood up. "I want to see Sasuke and Naruto," she said softly. Kakashi placed a hand on her head and ruffled her hair gently. "Let's go then," Kakashi replied, and the pair left the office. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Tsunade looked at Sasuke. "Sasuke, I need to talk to you once Kakashi comes back in here with Sakura," Tsunade stated. "What did I do?" Sasuke asked, somewhat childishly. "You didn't do anything, Sasuke. But what I'm going to tell you is probably going to be a shock," Tsunade replied. Sasuke nodded his understanding, and at that moment, Kakashi and Sakura came back into the room. Sasuke looked at Tsunade in confusion. "Come on, Sasuke," Tsunade stated plainly. Sasuke walked off with Tsunade and headed into her office, leaving the others behind. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Tsunade noticed the way Sasuke looked at her as she sat down. She gestured for him to do the same. He sat down as asked, wondering exactly what Tsunade wanted to speak to him about. "Sasuke, there are some things that have been brought to my attention that I feel you should know about," Tsunade said gently. Sasuke looked at Tsunade suspiciously. "Your brother had a specific reason for killing your clan member Sasuke," Tsunade started. Sasuke bristled at the mention of his brother. "I know. He told me. He wanted to test his own potential," Sasuke exclaimed. "Sasuke, he lied about that," Tsunade stated. "What?" Sasuke asked. Confusion laced his voice. "He told you he killed the clan for that reason, to protect your view of your family," Tsunade said softly. "Why would he do that? What need would he have to lie about something like that?" Sasuke yelled. Tsunade sighed. "Sasuke, when you were born, your father did something that is considered illegal by the standards of this village. That's not just me and the council. It includes the citizenry and shinobi of Konoha as well," Tsunade stated. Sasuke stared at Tsunade, confusion clearly written on his face. "Sasuke, your father created a Jinchuriki," Tsunade told Sasuke. Sasuke blinked. "Why would he do that?" Sasuke asked. "For power. For his own ends. He wanted a weapon to control," Tsunade replied. "My father wasn't like that," Sasuke yelled. "On the contrary, Sasuke, I have to tell you that is exactly what your father was like. You are the Jinchuriki he created, Sasuke. He sealed the five-tailed bull, Goyubi, within you. Your brother admitted it to Sandame after he murdered the clan members. He killed them because of a plot to get rid of you. Tsunade said softly. Sasuke shook his head in disbelief. I'm truly sorry to tell you this, Sasuke. I wouldn't if I could avoid it. Itachi lied to you about the murder of the clan to protect you from the fact they were planning to kill you. It's the main reason that your father wanted your brother placed in Umbu, so he could cover it up when it happened. Your father decided that you were far too dangerous to keep alive. Your mother had no idea what had been done. She was caught in the crossfire between your brother and father, and it was your father's sword that ran her through. Tsunade said softly. Sasuke felt tears coming into his eyes. He couldn't stop them from spilling over. He was completely breaking down. Why? Why didn't Itachi tell me the truth? Why? When he was the brother I adored and looked up to for so long. I never knew the truth. Sasuke sobbed out. The boy was completely breaking down. Tsunade went to the door and beckoned to Shizen. Get Naruto, please. Quickly, Tsunade whispered. She looked back to see Sasuke shaking violently, tears streaming down his cheeks. She couldn't blame him. A secret like that being revealed had to do something to your mental stability, and Sasuke had had enough of his own issues throughout his life. Tsunade bit her lip anxiously as she saw Sasuke retreating into himself. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sasuke was shaking in his seat, tears pouring down his cheeks as he sobbed. That was when someone wrapped their arms around him and hugged him tightly. Sasuke looked up blearily to see the bright face of his best friend. Naruto, I'm a Jinchuriki like you. Why didn't my brother tell me? Sasuke asked softly. He was in the middle of a nervous breakdown. It's all right, Sasuke. No matter what happens, I'll always be here. Naruto whispered back. But I'm a monster, Sasuke yelled. Am I a monster, Sasuke? Naruto asked. No, Sasuke replied. Then how can you be one? Naruto asked. Sasuke just hugged Naruto back, tightly, holding on to the only lifeline he had left to sanity. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Tsunade watched everything occur from the corner of the room, praying that Naruto could help Sasuke through this nightmare he'd been thrust into. Chapter 8. Action and Reaction. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Itachi and Konan had arrived back at the Akatsuki base. Pain was there to greet them. Where were you two? Pain asked. I was trying to convince Kaido to come back to us. Konan said softly. He refused and killed Zetsu. Itachi added. What were you doing there, Itachi? Pain asked. I had a bad feeling, Leader Sama. Itachi replied. Pain glared slightly. We have to make new plans, Pain stated as he walked into the base. Itachi and Konan followed him, hoping that he'd bought their story. XXXXXXXXXXXXXX. That afternoon, Naruto was hopping rooftops with Sasuke on his back. Surprisingly, Sasuke would only stay near Naruto. Tsunade had wanted to keep Sasuke in the hospital overnight, but Sasuke had recoiled from any other touch but Naruto's. Tsunade had told them that he had suffered a form of mental breakdown and that reacting to Naruto was a good thing at the moment. It was best that Sasuke stay with the people who were closest to him. Kakashi and Sakura followed behind Naruto. Kakashi had agreed to stay with the trio until Sasuke had recovered in some way. When they finally got back to Sasuke's house, Naruto tried to get Sasuke to sit down, but Sasuke refused to stay anywhere unless Naruto was around. Naruto nodded at Sakura and Kakashi and led Sasuke up to his own room. Sasuke, come on, let's go and get some sleep. Kakashi and Sakura heard Naruto say to Sasuke kindly. Dad, I don't know when to tell Naruto and Sasuke about you being my dad. Sasuke seems so lost. I don't even know why. Naruto said he got some news from Tsunade, but Sakura trailed off. Give it a couple of days before you talk to Sasuke about it, Sakura. When Naruto is by himself, I'm sure you'll be able to talk to him about all of this. Kakashi replied kindly. Sakura looked up at the ceiling. Until then, we have to help Naruto make Sasuke better. Sakura stated seriously, her face set with a look of determination. Kakashi nodded, giving Sakura a soft smile. Well, my beliefs will live on in someone. Kakashi thought to himself happily. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto made Sasuke lay down. Sasuke still looked dazed and more than a little frightened. Naruto, Sasuke asked softly. Yes, Sasuke. Naruto questioned back. You're not going anywhere, are you? Sasuke uttered. He looked like a frightened child, his face paler than usual and his eyes filled with tears. No, I'm staying here, Sasuke. I'm not going to go away, Naruto said softly. Sasuke seemed to relax, and after a little while, Sasuke was sleeping soundly. Naruto sat next to Sasuke's bed and watched over his friend, wondering if there was anything more he could do to help. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. The next day, Sakura was walking to the front door of what had been her home since birth. She felt this need to confront her parents about what they had done. She knocked on the door gently. She heard the cry of a baby and then footsteps coming towards the door. It opened to reveal Sachiko Haruno, the woman Sakura had known as her mother her whole life. Mother, Sakura asked softly. Sachiko gave something between a look of confusion and a look of sadness. What are you doing here, Sakura? You left this family, she said coldly. A family I didn't belong to in the first place, Sakura said softly. What? Sachiko asked softly. Found another child to adopt? Did's father know about it? Mine didn't know about me, right, mother? Sakura asked coldly. What are you talking about, Sakura? Sachiko asked. Her face showed a look of panic. Tsunade Shursho told me, mother. All about my birth mother who died on a mission away from the village. About Kakashi-sensei being my biological father. Sandaime-sama left a record for his successor. She chose to let me know the truth. Maybe you can explain why you wanted me so badly you had to steal me from my own father. Sakura asked. Sachiko bit her lip nervously. Gomein, Sachiko said softly. Sakura followed her into the house and closed the door behind her. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kakashi Hatake walked towards the village sushi restaurant. He had decided that he needed to confront Saito Haruno today so that at least he could concentrate a bit more on helping Sasuke. There he saw the man putting some garbage out of the back of the restaurant and into a dumpster. Haruno, Kakashi called out angrily. The man turned and glared at Kakashi. What do you want here, Hatake? Saito hissed. I want to know what gave you the right to steal my daughter. Kakashi asked angrily. Nirabu Uchiha bought the child to us and told us she had no one. We wanted a child, so we kept her and raised her. When you left Umbu and became a jounin, ready to train a team, Nirabu informed me that you were her biological father. He was killed in the massacre shortly afterwards. Saito stated blankly. Didn't you think to question why I'd allow my own child to be raised by complete strangers? Kakashi spat out. I didn't bother. After all, you were a young teenager when Sakura was born. She was obviously a mistake that you and the mother made. You would never have coped with a child on your own. Everyone knows how your father coped. Saito hissed. Kakashi lost his temper then. Within seconds, Kakashi had Saito Haruno pinned to a wall by his throat, using his own arm to keep the man there. What gave you the right to make that decision, Saito? Who the hell do you think you are, talking about my father like that? Making a decision that I couldn't handle my own child? Then you disowned her, told her to go because she stood by her friend. Kakashi growled out. That brat is a demon lover, just like you. She had to get it from someone. Saito choked out. Kakashi let go of the man, who fell to the ground coughing and choking, and turned to leave. Saito glared angrily at Kakashi. You think it's so easy? You try looking after that girl. She's spoiled, ungrateful, and doesn't consider anyone else. I have another child now. Take your brat back if you want. Saito hissed. Kakashi didn't even bother to turn back as he replied. Sakura has a good heart. Even if she were any of the things you said she was, it was you that raised her. Think about that carefully, Saito Haruno. If I think for a single second that you harm my daughter in any way, physically or emotionally, I will hunt you down and kill you. That's a promise, no matter how far you try to run. Kakashi stated before walking away, leaving Saito Haruno to glare after him. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sakura was sat in front of Sachiko waiting for an explanation. Your fath, my husband, told me that you had no family. I had no children, and I'll never have children of my own. I thought it was a miracle when Nirabu Uchiha brought you to us. When my husband told me who your biological father was, you were 7 years old. You called me Mummy. I wondered why he hadn't claimed you. I asked, and Saito told me that he wasn't capable, and that's how he got you. It wasn't until you were put on Kakashi's team that I began to wonder if Saito had been lying to me. Of course, I found out he had been lying to me when we went to the Hokage, and he told us that we shouldn't have adopted you without legal consent from your biological father. By then, the damage was done, and I didn't want to hurt you anymore by telling you what the truth was. Sachiko stated softly. The baby was asleep in Sachiko's arms. So, if you cared so much about me, why did you disown me? Sakura asked. I thought that Saito wasn't serious, or that you'd come back in a few days. He's controlled my life all the time I've known him. I wish I'd stood up to him more. The only time I ever stood up to him was to let you become a ninja. You wanted it so much that I couldn't let him stop you. Sachiko said softly. Maybe you'll stand up to him more for this child. Sakura said softly. She stood up and made to leave. Sakura, wait. Sachiko called back. Sakura turned her head to look at the woman she'd called mother for so long. I do still care, Sakura. I don't want you to go back on your convictions. Just let me know how you're doing from time to time. Sachiko asked softly. Sakura just gave a small nod of recognition, then left the house, closing the door behind her. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto had managed to get Sasuke to eat some soup. He was still completely dazed, relying on Naruto to nudge him in the right direction. Sasuke, do you think you might want to talk to Sakura and Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked. Sasuke shook his head. Naruto nodded his understanding. Sasuke ate the soup in front of him slowly. He hadn't moved from his bed except to go to the bathroom. My father must have hated me so much to seal a demon inside of me and then try to kill me, Sasuke said blankly. I don't know about that, Sasuke. I can't tell you if your father loved you or not. But Naruto trailed off. But Sasuke asked. Itachi could tell you, Sasuke. He could tell you everything you need to know. Naruto said softly. Sasuke brought his knees up to his chest after moving the soup bowl he'd been eating from. Do you think he'd bother coming? Sasuke asked sadly. Itachi would do anything for you, Sasuke. If you want, I can contact him and tell him to come, Naruto asked gently. Sasuke nodded and then laid down in his bed. He curled into the fetal position, and soon enough he was asleep. Naruto left the room and went downstairs, pulling out the origami bird that Conan had given him once again. He attached a message to it and sent it off. He heard the door open, and Kakashi entered the house. Is Sasuke any better today? Kakashi asked. I got him to eat some soup. Naruto replied. That's good. At least he's eating something. Kakashi replied. Sensei, I have to do something that you're probably not going to like, and I'm going to have to ask you to look the other way. Naruto said softly. What makes you say that, Naruto? Kakashi asked. I've asked Itachi to come and speak to Sasuke. Naruto said softly. Kakashi looked at Naruto in shock. What are you thinking, Naruto? He killed the Uchiha clan. Sasuke wouldn't want to see him. Kakashi stated. You'll understand later on, Kakashi-sensei. I swear. But Sasuke needs to talk to Itachi. Naruto said softly. He looked up at Kakashi, pleading with his eyes for his sensei to trust him. Kakashi sighed. Okay, I'll allow you to do this. I'll trust you, Naruto. But I'll be in this house when he's here. If anything happens, I want to be close by. Kakashi told Naruto bluntly. Naruto nodded his understanding. I understand, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto said gently. That was when Sakura came into the house. She smiled at Naruto widely. Naruto, I want to talk to you. Sakura said happily. She grabbed hold of the blonde boy's arm and dragged him off. Naruto waited for Sakura to stop dragging him before he spoke. What's wrong, Sakura-chan? He asked. I wanted to tell you what I found out from Tsunade-sama yesterday, Sakura said softly. Naruto nodded, waiting for Sakura to tell him. Kakashi-sensei is my biological father. Tsunade found a letter from Sandame telling her all about it. Sakura said softly. She looked at Naruto as though she hoped for reassurance. Naruto smiled. Don't worry, Sakura. I don't mind you haven't changed in my eyes. I think it brings us all closer together. When Sasuke's okay again, we can tell him about it. Naruto said. Sakura grinned. How are you feeling about it though, Sakura? It must be hard to deal with the fact that you were lied to. Naruto asked kindly. Kakashi-sensei didn't know about it either, Naruto. But you were right. It hurt to know that the people I call my parents lied to me my whole life. Sakura said sadly. Naruto gave a reassuring smile. Don't worry, Sakura. We're a family here. All of us together, right? I promise that I'm not going to lie to you. I also promise that I'm not going to lie to Sasuke or Kakashi-sensei or any of the people that I care about. Naruto stated seriously. Sakura's eyes filled with tears at this heartfelt statement. She threw her arms around Naruto's neck and hugged him tightly. I promise that I'll always accept you just the way you are, Naruto. Sakura whispered as she hugged her blonde best friend. Naruto hugged her back, wondering how much of himself was still hidden from him at the moment. Lost. Chapter 9. The Prodigal Son Returns. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. It was late at night in Konoha. Sakura was fast asleep, her face taking the look of innocence in slumber. Kakashi sighed as he pulled her duvet up to cover her properly. Sakura snuggled into her bed further and stayed asleep, a small smile resting on her face. Kakashi left the room, closing the door behind him. He looked at Naruto, who was as awake as Kakashi, and he gave the blonde a questioning look. Itachi got my message. I don't know exactly when he'll be here, but I know it'll be soon. Naruto replied softly. Kakashi nodded and walked off to sit in the kitchen. Naruto was grateful for the trust Kakashi was placing in him, and he didn't want it to be misplaced. He went into Sasuke's room and saw his friend was sleeping. He bit his lip as another memory returned to him. The trio were in a forest. Naruto felt as though something were wrong, but couldn't put his finger on it. A fierce wind blew, separating him from his friends. He was swallowed by a snake, and his thoughts, before he managed to escape, were of never seeing his friends again. Naruto knew these memories were connected with something darker. He wasn't sure what, but he knew that the situation he'd recalled had been a life or death situation, one that frightened him. That was when he sensed someone coming in through the window. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Itachi had arrived in Konoha. Keeping himself hidden was an art. He'd been hiding from Hunter Nin and plenty of other dangers since he'd left the village at the age of 13. He sighed as he made his way to the Uchiha estate. He made his way to the main house and found Sasuke's window open. He climbed in and saw Naruto already staring at him. I got your message. Is Sasuke doing all right? Itachi asked softly. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto stared at Itachi sadly. He's taking it pretty bad, Itachi. He wants to know the answers to questions that I can't give the answers to. You can. That's why I called you. He really needs you to be honest, Itachi. You can't lie to protect him. He needs the truth from you. Naruto said sternly. Itachi nodded. Naruto walked over to his friend's side and gently gave Sasuke a nudge. Sasuke opened his eyes blearily. Naruto, he asked questioningly. Yes, Sasuke. Itachi's here. Naruto said softly. Sasuke sat up and stared at Itachi. Maybe I should leave you two to talk. Naruto said softly. Before he could move away, Sasuke latched on to Naruto's hand, shaking his head vigorously. Naruto smiled, sat down next to his closest friend, and waited for Sasuke to start asking questions. Sasuke and Itachi eyed each other for a few moments before Sasuke started speaking. I need to know why Guubi was sealed inside of me. Sasuke started softly. I need to know who was in on it. I need to know why my whole family wanted me dead. I need to know. Sasuke trailed off for a moment. He looked to Naruto as though he were trying to get his bearings. I need to know if father ever had any love for me at all. Sasuke finished. Itachi nodded his understanding before he started to speak. You were chosen to be Goyubi's host because you were a newborn, and newborns or unborn lives can meld better with the demons. It makes it easier to control them in the long run. Father made the decision, and he, along with many of our male clan members, helped with the sealing. Mother never knew about it at all. Her death, her death hurt me deeply, not least because she was trying to protect me. Itachi said sadly. Sasuke bit his lip anxiously as he waited for Itachi to answer his other questions. The clan were frightened of you becoming too strong, Sasuke. It was an idea implanted by our father, and he upheld the rumor with great ferocity. After I killed Shursui, something I despised doing, Father made out that it was you that had killed him and lost control of Goyobi. Most people fear what they don't understand. As for whether or not our father loved you, I don't think I can answer that. I like to say he did. I like to think he must have loved you at some point. But I honestly don't know, and to lie to you would be cruel and unfair. Itachi finished. Sasuke nodded. Thanks for answering my questions, brother. Sasuke said softly. Sasuke looked at Naruto. How did you survive it all, Naruto? All the hate from the villagers and the prejudice. Sasuke asked. I didn't even know what I was. No one ever came up to me directly to say anything. But people did to you. How did you survive it, Naruto? Sasuke added. He looked at Naruto questioningly. Naruto gripped Sasuke's hand gently and smiled at his closest friend. I survived because I had to. I don't remember too much, but the parts one do remember of my life are that you guys are important to me. Maybe it's because I had the support of my friends that I managed to survive, Sasuke. You're going to have me and Sakura and Kakashi-sensei to help you. We won't abandon you no matter what happens. Naruto replied softly. Sasuke nodded and turned to look at Itachi. Is there a way I can contact you? Sasuke asked. Just give a message to Naruto. He is able to contact me at any time. I'll always come if you need me here, Sasuke, no matter how dangerous it is. Itachi replied softly. That was the moment that there was a knock on the door, and Kakashi walked into the room. He and Itachi acknowledged each other, and Itachi went to the window. Do you have to go now? Sasuke asked softly, his tone almost like that of a child. I'll be back to visit you soon, little brother. I promise. Itachi replied gently. But you need to start getting better. A shinobi doesn't lay in bed all day. Itachi added with a kind smile. Sasuke nodded and smiled back. Itachi looked at Kakashi. I won't put any of you in danger. But if Sasuke needs me, I'll be there for him. I don't want any trouble, Kakashi. Itachi said firmly. Kakashi nodded his understanding and Itachi left. All three of the males in the room wondered exactly how this would work out in the end. Chapter 10. A Permanent Place. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Tsunade had listened to what Naruto had to say. It had been rather early when he barged into her office and demanded to talk to her. She smirked inwardly. He's starting to act like himself more and more every day. She thought happily. A plan had already formed in her mind to bring Itachi Uchiha back to the village of his birth. She didn't know if he or Sasuke would like the idea, but of course that wouldn't stop her putting it to them. Naruto, you've been ranting for an hour, she stated firmly. Naruto gave a Cheshire grin, albeit a sheepish one, and waited for Tsunade to carry on. I have a plan, Naruto, but to carry it out, I have to speak to both Itachi and Sasuke to see if they agree to it. You need to call Itachi here, Tsunade added kindly. Naruto grinned. I could get Itachi to come to the Uchiha estate. Sasuke will be there too. You could talk to both of them there, Bachan. Naruto exclaimed happily. He was out of the office before Tsunade could say another word. Tsunade shook her head in disbelief. Well, we'll see how all of this turns out. Tsunade thought to herself as she started on the mountain of paperwork she had for that day. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Not a week later, Tsunade was sat in a room with Sasuke, Naruto, Kakashi, and Itachi. Sasuke, do you want your brother back in the village? Tsunade asked. Sasuke nodded. He seemed a lot healthier compared to the last time Tsunade had seen him. He was washed, dressed, and looked less pale. He seemed to be regaining his original complexion, rather than being white as a sheet. I have a plan, but I need to know if you two brothers will go along with it, Tsunade stated. Both Uchiha males waited for Tsunade to carry on speaking. My plan was to place the blame for the clan's murder on your father. Itachi, trying to defend himself, killed your father. Sasuke was just lucky not to be around. Tsunade said softly. Sasuke and Itachi looked at each other. Both seemed to be thinking hard about what they would say to this idea. I agree, Sasuke said softly. Tsunade looked at Itachi for his answer. Itachi nodded his assent. Tsunade gave a soft smile. Well, welcome back to the village, Itachi. Tsunade stated kindly. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Not a week later, Tsunade was arguing with the council. This was nothing unusual. However, the council were against Tsunade's decision to allow Itachi to return to the village. It's ludicrous, Tsunade. The boy killed his whole family, Koharu stated. I've already stated that that was not the case. Tsunade replied calmly. Hamura glared. Whatever the case was, Itachi Uchiha committed murder. He can't just escape without any punishment. Hamura hissed. He's been punished enough. He's been separated from his younger brother, lost his other family, including his mother. He spent the last 9 years on the run. I believe the time has come to show him a bit of leniency. Tsunade said softly. You're soft, Tsunade. You care too much about others. Danzo hissed. No, I care just enough, Danzo. Tsunade replied. She got up from her seat. This discussion is over. As Hokage, I get the last word. You're here to advise me, not command me. Now, if you don't mind, I have a ton of paperwork to do. Tsunade stated. She left the room, with a smirk on her face, and left behind a bunch of angry elders. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sakura found herself feeling slightly nervous. She knew that Sasuke's brother was to come and live with them. She knew rather a lot more than the other villagers did. She had been told the truth of the situation by Sasuke. In turn, she had told him about Kakashi being her biological father. The group seemed quite happy about the situation. With Itachi coming back to the fold, they were going to be a full-fledged family. Sasuke was becoming healthier day by day, and Sakura knew it was because Itachi was coming back. Somehow, she wanted to thank him, but something made her want to run at the same time. I'll have to get used to the fact that he's not my enemy, Sakura thought to herself as she carried on getting the groceries. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto felt rather tense. Things were happening at a fast rate. He had most of his memories back now, and every time he saw something, he got a flash of memory. Not all the images he got were good. In fact, some of the memories that he'd remembered were rather horrifying. He walked home that day to the Uchiha estate and sat down on a couch rather heavily. He felt the weight of 1,000 glares on his back, even when no one was in the house. Naruto. Naruto turned to look at Sasuke. Hey, Sasuke. Naruto said softly. His voice sounded heavy. You're remembering the bad stuff along with the good, right? Sasuke asked. Naruto nodded. Sometimes I wonder what the hell I did. Then I remember what I am. I hate how ignorant people are. Be happy that no one knows about you, Sasuke. It's a heavy burden to carry. Naruto said softly. Sasuke sat next to Naruto on the couch. You don't have to carry it alone, Naruto. Sasuke said kindly. That's right, Naruto. The two turned to see Sakura in the doorway, carrying a bag of groceries. We don't care if you're a Jinchuriki or not. We're your friends for who you are. Whether or not you're a Jinchuriki makes no difference. Sakura stated happily. Naruto couldn't help but smile at the female of his team. Thanks, you two. Naruto said softly, lost. Chapter 11. A bond is formed. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Itachi made a habit now of making sure Sasuke ate, trying to help Naruto regain the memories he'd lost, and attempting to make conversation with Kakashi. Kakashi was a hard man to please, however, so Itachi knew he had his work cut out for him. Why was Itachi trying so hard to get along with Kakashi? The simple answer is that Itachi knew Kakashi had become a father figure to the 3 young ninja of the household, and Itachi wanted to do his best by Sasuke. He had just returned to the house after a mission, to see Sakura walking towards the door, looking dejectedly at the grocery bag she was carrying. Itachi noticed that the bag was rather crumpled, and that Sakura seemed to look a little rough around the edges. He decided to find out what was wrong. Sakura, Itachi called out to the girl. She jumped in fright, and then sighed in relief when she realized it was Itachi. Ethan. Sakura said cheerfully enough. Why do you look like someone roughed you up? Itachi asked bluntly. Sakura looked down at the bag again. The villagers don't really like me. They see me as Naruto's friend, and they hate me. They wouldn't challenge Sasuke. They're far too scared for that. They're also scared of Kakashi, Naruto, and you. So that just leaves me to pick on, I guess. Sakura replied. Itachi sighed as he took Sakura's battered grocery bag. Why don't you fight back, Sakura? You're very capable of it. I've seen you in action. Itachi asked. Because if I did, then I might seriously hurt someone. None of them can really defend themselves. I know it would serve them right. I know I should fight back, but Naruto was never like that. I don't know what stops me, apart from the fact that I'm scared I'll really hurt someone. Sakura replied. A tone of sadness seeped into her voice. The pair had walked into the house and towards the kitchen. Sakura took the grocery bag and started putting things away. Sakura, if you don't stand up for yourself, then they'll get worse. I was an Umbu when Naruto was a child, and it wasn't pretty. Some Umbu even turned their backs when the cruelty was going on. I never could. I suppose that's a part of my nature. Naruto, however, has no idea I was ever there. He might have known me as Umbu Raven. That's about it, even if he had his full memories. Itachi stated calmly. So how come you're telling me this? Sakura asked. She had stopped putting things away at that moment. Because I want you to understand that you shouldn't allow yourself to be picked on. You're far stronger than that. Naruto was a child and had no choices. You have the choice. You are the apprentice of Tsunade-sama, the Go-Dame Hokage. That is a position that the villagers should respect. Act like her apprentice. Itachi replied. Sakura nodded and smiled. Thanks, Itachi. You're right. I guess it's just finding the right way to say something. Saying it to myself makes no difference. Hearing it from someone else is a bigger boost. Sakura said cheerfully. Itachi nodded and left Sakura to her task. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. For months later, Sakura was carrying a large bag of groceries. It was Naruto's birthday today. A lot had happened in the half a year since Naruto had returned. Sakura had stood up for herself. The villagers had left her alone, mostly. Today, however, Sakura felt as though she were being watched. With the festival that usually carried on today, Sakura tried to ignore the feeling. After all, she knew that people were going to glare at her more. She was friends with Naruto. The festival was supposed to celebrate the defeat of the Kyuubi by the fourth Hokage. But Sakura knew the Kyuubi was still alive, contained within Naruto. She knew the villagers weren't happy with that information. The old rookie group had decided to throw Naruto a birthday party. Sasuke had made the suggestion. Naruto was being kept busy by Tsunade whilst the group prepared for the party. Sakura had gone to get the food. For some reason, Sakura had started being the big sister that went to do the groceries and liked to tidy up. She didn't know quite when she had taken that role, but she was happy in it. She had 2 large bags in her arms. She could just about see over them when someone barged into her. It took all her skill to make sure Naruto's birthday cake didn't get destroyed. She glared up at the person who'd knocked into her only to find Saito, Haruno, glaring back. "Excuse me, Haruno-san," Sakura hissed as she went to walk around but felt an almost bruising grip on her arm. "Where do you think you're going, Sakura? You should apologize to your elders when you bump into them." Saito hissed back at her. "You bumped into me, Haruno-san. I didn't ask for an apology, and I won't apologize for something I didn't do," Sakura replied. "You should apologize for that damn demon brat. Today is our festival to celebrate it dying, but he's still alive. You should apologize. Any child raised by me should have slit that little bastard's throat in his sleep. But not you, huh? You're pathetic," Saito yelled at Sakura hatefully. Sakura bit down on her lip, trying desperately not to let his words get to her. "What's going on here?" Sakura and Saito turned to see Itachi standing there. "This is none of your business, Uchiha." Saito Haruno snarled angrily. "It's my business when you attack someone close to me. I won't allow you to hurt Sakura," Itachi stated coldly. He grabbed hold of Saito's hand that still gripped Sakura's arm and gripped hard. Within moments, Sakura heard a snap and a yell of pain. She saw Saito glare hatefully at Itachi. If you so much as look at Sakura in the wrong way, I'll hunt you down, Saito, Haruno. Itachi stated. What are you talking about, boy? Saito questioned hatefully. I saw you watching her today, Haruno. Sakura doesn't need to be spied on. Just remember I'm watching over her safety. Itachi replied. He led Sakura away from the scene, taking one of the large bags from her. Thanks, Itachi, Sakura said softly. Just remember, we're family now. Sasuke accepts you all unconditionally, and so do I. Itachi replied kindly. Sakura grinned happily as they walked back to the Uchiha estate. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Kakashi was walking down the street when he saw the altercation take place. He smiled to himself when he saw Itachi step in. I know Sakura would prefer I didn't jump in to save her every time there's trouble. But if Itachi hadn't shown up, I would have ripped that bastard's head off. Kakashi thought to himself. He then opened up his Aika book and started to read again. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto was sat with Tsunade and Jiraiya under a tree in Team 7's favorite training ground. His two elders, who were precious to him, were bickering amongst themselves. Naruto smiled at the pair as he lay back on the grass and stared at the sky. Tsunade Bachan? Erosenin? Naruto asked softly. The pair looked at him. I remember pretty much everything from before. I think I'm still missing some things. Naruto told them softly. What makes you say that, kid? Jiraiya asked. I don't have a clue who my parents were. I mean, I know they were already gone when I was a baby, but someone would have told me. Wouldn't they? Naruto asked. Tsunade sighed. She'd known it would come to this eventually. Naruto, no one told you about your parents before. They were worried about your safety. Tsunade said gently. Naruto stared at Tsunade from the spot where he was laying. Tsunade then proceeded to tell him about his parents. She hoped he would forgive her for keeping such a secret from him. When she was done, she waited for Naruto to say something. The boy just nodded. It's okay, Bachan. I know why you didn't tell me when you found out. It's still a little hard to believe, though. Naruto stated cheerfully. Tsunade felt relief swell up inside her at this comment. Jiraiya gave a goofy grin and pointed to his wrist sneakily. Tsunade nodded. Okay, Naruto, let's get going. Tsunade said cheerfully. Naruto nodded and the trio got up and started walking. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Back at the Uchiha house, Sasuke, Itachi, Kakashi, Guy, Niji Lee, Tenten, Asuma, Ino, Temari, Chuji Kurenai, Hinata, Kiba, and Shino were all running around trying to make sure everything was perfect. For some odd reason, Irika and Gaara were helping Sakura in the kitchen, and Shikamaru had flopped onto the couch, claiming that everything was too troublesome and napping periodically. Sai appeared at the sitting room window. They're on their way here. I just saw them at the front gate. Sai stated. The group started hurrying about madly. Sasuke was walking along the ceiling with Kiba, using chakra to check the decorations. Itachi had gone into the kitchen to tell Sakura, Irika, and Gaara what was happening. Shikamaru had gotten up from the couch. Ino, Tenten, Temari, and Hinata were checking the arrangement of the food and obviously the birthday presents. Shino, Lee, Niji, and Kankuro finished up with attaching balloons everywhere and got down for wherever they climbed up to. Everyone closed the curtains, and Sakura made everyone go into the hallway or the kitchen so that everyone was out of sight. That included Sai. Now they all waited with bated breath for Naruto to arrive. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto opened the door and walked in, followed by Tsunade and Jiraiya. Why is this place so dark? Naruto asked aloud. Hey guys, I'm home. Naruto called out. All at once, the lights flicked on, and Naruto jumped in shock at the gathering. Happy birthday, Naruto! Everyone yelled out cheerfully. Naruto's eyes went wide. He looked at Tsunade and Jiraiya, who were grinning behind him. Did you two know about this? Naruto asked sardonically. Tsunade shrugged, and Jiraiya just grinned. Naruto couldn't help grinning back and running around to hug everyone in sight. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. A few hours later, Naruto had had a lot of fun. He couldn't remember any birthday being like this. That was a great feat, seeing as he'd only just recovered most of his memories. He'd really liked the gifts he'd received, not just because they appealed to him, but because his friends had done their best to find something he'd like. That was when Sai came up to him. Naruto knew that he hadn't known Sai before, but there was something very melancholy about the pale, Sasuke look-alike that made Naruto want to find out more. Sai looked blank as he did on most occasions. Naruto was wondering whether or not to try and speak to the emotionless boy when Sai spoke to him instead. I've never celebrated a birthday before. I don't even know when my birthday happens to be. It's interesting. What does it signify to blow out candles on a cake? Sai asked. Naruto gave a soft smile. It's supposed to be that the cake has as many candles as how many years you've been alive. If you blow out all the candles in one blow, then you can make a wish. It's tradition, Naruto stated. Sai blinked. It's illogical. If you think about it, logically no one gets what they wish for, and by the time you get to a certain age, you wouldn't be able to blow out all the candles. Sai blinked. If you find it so strange, what made you want to come here today? Naruto asked. Curiosity always seemed to get the better of the blonde. Because Sakura and Sasuke, in all the time I've been on their team, have never really accepted me. They have some feelings for you. What those feelings are, I can't tell. I don't know too much about feelings. I was curious as to who you are, Naruto-kun. I wanted to know why you seem to inspire Sasuke and Sakura, and why they seem to care for you so desperately. Sai blinked. Did you find the answers you were looking for? Naruto asked. No, not really. I think I need to study you more before I make an analogy. Sai answered. Then he walked off, leaving Naruto to his own thoughts. Little did Naruto know that he was being watched. There was a sudden knock at the door, and Naruto went to answer it. He was surprised to see Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udon outside. Happy birthday, Naruto-ni. The three young genin stated happily. Naruto grinned and moved aside to let them in. Konohamaru didn't move, however. Naruto looked at the boy curiously as Udon and Moegi went into the house. What's wrong, Konohamaru? Naruto asked gently. He was surprised when he felt Konohamaru hug him tightly. We missed you, Naruto-ni. I never got the chance to tell you really. I thought you might not come back. I already lost Grandpa. I guess I thought I lost you too. But I wanted to say that I don't want you to go again. I never had any brothers, and you're the closest I've ever had to a brother. You taught me important stuff, Naruto-ni. So, Konohamaru trailed off. He blushed bright red with embarrassment. Naruto knew the boy was having a hard time getting out what he wanted to say. Naruto grinned and hugged the boy back and ruffled the genin's brown hair. It's okay, Konohamaru. I'm not planning on going anywhere soon. Naruto replied. Konohamaru grinned widely. They were both about to go inside when Naruto felt a flare of chakra. It was ever so slight, but Naruto recognized it straight away. You go on in, Konohamaru, and I'll be there in a few minutes, okay? Naruto said softly. Konohamaru nodded and went inside. Naruto waited patiently, and not a moment later Konan was in front of him. Naruto smiled and hugged the older female tightly. Konan-ne-chan, it's so good to see you. Did you get into any trouble with Leader Sama? Naruto asked. He remembered Zetsu's death all too clearly. Konan shook her head gently. No, I didn't. Everything is fine, Naruto-kun. Itachi told me it's your birthday today. Konan stated softly. Naruto nodded. It's so weird. I've never celebrated a birthday like this. Usually the villagers glared down on me, and I was alone. It's so weird to think that the usual festival is going on, and everyone is still here. Naruto replied softly. It shows that they're your friends, Naruto. You don't want to lose any of them. Konan replied. She went in her pocket and gave Naruto a small box. Naruto blinked curiously at it and opened it gently. Inside was a bracelet with blue and orange glass beads. Naruto recognized it straight away. Konan-ne-chan, you told me this belonged to your baby brother, that he was killed with your parents in aim during the war. You were the only survivor. I can't take this away from you. Naruto said softly. I'm giving it to you, Naruto. You're not taking it away. Besides, I think it's been lonely without a wrist to hang from. I lost one brother, but I gained another. Please take it. I know you'll look after it. Conan replied kindly. Naruto nodded and hugged Conan tightly. She hugged him back. Once the pair separated, Conan gave the blonde a gentle smile. I have to go. I'm supposed to be on a mission, but I'll be back, Naruto-kun. Take care of yourself. Conan said. Naruto nodded. I'll see you soon, Nachon. I hope. Naruto replied. Conan nodded. She hugged Naruto one last time. Then she was gone. Naruto looked at the bracelet and put it around his wrist. I'll make sure I look after it. Naruto thought to himself as he went back into the house. Chapter 12. Talking can solve a problem. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. When Conan arrived back at the base, she ran into Kakuzu. Leader is looking for you, Conan. Haiden and I are moving out. The nearby Jinchuriki has been spotted in Kimogakure. Haiden is annoyed that we can't kill the brat. Kakuzu stated irritably. Then he left. Conan stood there. She walked into Pain's office where she didn't find Pain, but Uchiha Madara. She glared at the male angrily as he wore his hooded cloak. Pretending to be Pain now, Conan asked. Like being a traitor, Conan? Madara replied curtly. Conan glared. What are you talking about? Conan asked, trying to keep her feelings hidden. Well, I've seen you going different routes to get to your missions. Each route you take goes through Konoha. You care for that Jinchuriki boy? Madara asked plainly. What route I take or don't take has nothing to do with my loyalties. Conan replied. Oh, please, Conan. I'm far from stupid. I've been alive long enough to take note of everything going on around me. You care deeply for the QB's host. You treat him like a brother or even a son, so much so that you decided to visit around the time of his birthday. Madara stated. Conan felt her breath catch in her throat but stayed perfectly still. Her outward appearance was cool. However, she didn't stand a chance if Madara attacked her. She's my subordinate, Madara-sama. If I have a problem, I'll deal with her. Conan inwardly sighed with relief when Pain arrived. You tolerate traitors? Madara asked irritably. She's not a traitor. I've just been following her. She wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary. Conan stared at Pain with wide eyes. He knows what I've been doing. How could he know and still protect me? Conan thought to herself. Pain, deal with her as you see fit. Madara quipped. Then he left the room. It seemed like an age before Pain or Conan could speak to each other. You followed me? Conan asked. Pain nodded. Then you know what I've been doing? Conan questioned again. I don't blame you, Conan. That kid brought light back into both of our lives. I'm not sure if I can be responsible for destroying someone you care about. Pain stated. What does that mean? Conan asked. It means we will no longer be members of Akatsuki. I think the better option is to go to Konoha and see what can be done to protect Naruto. Pain stated. Kakuzu and Haiden have gone after the nearby Jinchuriki. Kakuzu told me that they were sent by Leader. Conan said softly. I never told them a thing. Pain quipped. Madara is already taking control. Conan said softly. That means we need to leave now. If we get there in time, we can get Konoha to protect that Jinchuriki. We can do no more than that. Pain said softly. Conan nodded. Let's get going. Conan uttered. The pair left, leaving 2 Akatsuki cloaks on the ground. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. Sai had been following Danzo. The man had taken him from somewhere as a baby, then had him raised as a living weapon. Sai sometimes wondered exactly why he had not been allowed emotions. However, on this night, the day after Naruto's birthday celebration, Sai had a terrible feeling in his gut. He didn't often get intuition, but when he did, he knew better than to ignore it. He followed Danzo to a clearing in the Konoha woods, where the old man seemed to be waiting for something. That was when a figure appeared from a form of shadow in the ground. A cloaked male was standing in front of Danzo. Danzo, have you arranged for the boy to take missions yet? Sai heard the male ask. No, Madara. Tsunade is oddly overprotective of that demon brat. She is insistent on making him as attuned to himself as possible before he can go on missions. He's a lot more agreeable to what she asks since his amnesia. My hands are tied at the moment, Danzo stated. Sai felt his eyes widen in something akin to horror. You can easily get the boy to leave the village. Hand him a fake mission scroll and tell him Tsunade asked you to give it to him. Once he's out of the village, I'll have Kisame abduct him. It's all very simple. Madara stated. It's not that simple. If the brat escapes, I will be implicated. I will be executed for helping a missing nin. We both know the boy will not keep his mouth shut about who gave him a mission to take him outside the village. Danzo stated. Kisame will not fail. Was it not your information that led us to capture him before? Madara stated. Sai's eyes widened even more. He betrayed comrades for this Akatsuki member. Sai thought to himself. He will be recaptured, and this time he will be destroyed. That much you can be assured of. The boy is a liability. I've already had one defector in Itachi. He has no idea you work for me. I believe that Conan and Pain, my first two puppets, do know that you work for me. Destroying the boy means that both of our positions are safe. Not that I need that, but you do. So, make sure that you get the boy outside the village. I'm giving you a week. It will take Conan and Pain that long to travel here. If he does not appear, you know the consequences. Madara stated. Oh, and what are your puppets? What makes you so sure that getting rid of the boy makes a difference? They may come here and expose me anyway. Danzo hissed. No, once they hear the boy is gone, they will come after him, and I'll finish them off myself. Your job is simple. Do it, or no one will be able to help you, and my plans will be destroyed. Madara hissed. Then he was gone. As he came, threw a shadow on the ground. Danzo left, looking somber, and Sai felt a sickening feeling wash over him. Everything in Sai's being told him to go and inform Tsunade of what was going to happen. Everything within him screamed at him to tell Naruto that someone was out to get him. His years of training en route kept him rooted to the spot. He knew what would happen to him if he spoke of Danzo. He'd only seen it happen once to another root member. That boy's tongue had swollen so much that he couldn't breathe. Sai had seen the boy die that way. He had to find a way around the seal that had been placed on his tongue since he was only a year old. He knew that much. Maybe when I do that, I'll be free to express emotion too. Sai thought to himself blankly as he left the clearing.